Happy Friday, everybody. I want to introduce our panelists for tonight. We have Biz, HD, Enos, Mistaken. I'm Sham Monet, and this is a Chic critique.
Yo, yo.
Am I too dark? I guess I should have done that in check. Check one, check two. I can't hold back. I'm in love with you. Hey, hey. Know what song that is? Never mind.
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
I want to do for you. Check one, check. Oh, I can't remember what it was. Okay. It's a Teddy song for sure, but I can't remember what song it is. I don't know, Mistaken. So Mistaken has some wifely duty, so she'll be in and out. So, how's everybody's week going? Well, the week. How was the week?
Uneventful.
Normal shit. Normal, right?
I tried one of those sensory deprivation tanks this week. Loved it. Amazing.
You try what?
A sensory deprivation tank.
Oh, okay.
Did you take any stimulants with it?
I did not this time. It was my first time, but I definitely felt like I should have.
Okay.
So what senses did they deprive you of?
So you're in like a tank where you just like float in the water. So there's no weight or anything like that. And then there's no light, no sound. So just about all of it except for you, yourself, and your thoughts.
It's just me, myself, and I. It's all I got in the end. I bet y'all know that song. Like, y'all know that Beyonce, don't you? Jeez. I'm
No.
joking. You don't know that song? You're a lie. You are.
I know the song, but you say y'all love y'all some Beyonce. I said no.
Yeah, I try to get my lighting. I gotta get these two lights up here replaced. They too tall for me.
Even though Beyonce is extremely commercial,
she's extremely popular commercial.
She still let it be known that, you know what I'm saying, she still got some, she blow, you know what I'm saying, she get down. You can't deny that.
She blow, she get down. You mean she sings?
Exactly.
Oh.
I was about to say, I mean, but she probably
I was like,
does.
what's she blowing? Y'all know I'm like the clueless one on the panel. Like, what does it mean by that?
You ever heard Partition?
Well, where you from? Shamona? Is that how you pronounce it?
Shan Monet.
Sam Monet.
Monet is my middle name.
Okay.
I am from Alabama.
Okay. Maybe it's just Chicago slang.
Oh, possibly.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's so funny. I was supposed to move to Chicago right out of college, and I the day I was supposed to leave to go to my job, I reneged.
Why so?
Because I heard it was going to be it was like South Cottage Grove, and I heard that was in like not so friendly area.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
I'm a little nervous because I was by myself. I was so young. I mean, today I wouldn't care, but when I was younger, I'm like, I'm not about that life.
Yeah. No, that's definitely the hood, and if you're not in the hood, you right next door to it.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for the hood.
Oh,
yeah. Even though they were going to pay me well, I just didn't. But anyway, tonight we are talking about women no longer being raised as wives. Seems to be the growing, you know, I can hear anything. If I've heard anything this week from the men on social media, it's y'all ain't be raised to be wives no more. Like, I want to know exactly what do you mean by that? What does that mean to you? We're going to have a conversation about it.
okay.
Tonight. Once people turn their videos on, Marky Mark. Can somebody call Marky Mark? He told me he's had something today went on.
And he'll be here later.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what do you think people mean by that? Young, especially the men on the panel. Why do you guys think that women aren't being raised to be wives? And do people ever been raised to be wives?
So, and I was kind of talking about this not too long ago with someone, and not necessarily being wives, but I feel like back in the day that was somewhat common in the sense of with being in church, right? In church, if you remember or if you guys went, for women, I don't think they had it for the boys. Well, I think it was like a joint thing, but purity class, right? That kind of taught you how to be uh, a respectable young lady growing up into being a woman. And you know, with church being so taboo kind of now in this generation, and you know, especially with the sexy reds being more popular, I don't think as a whole women are necessarily being taught how to be wives. But even at the same time, I think that it's the same deal with men as well. You know, men aren't being taught how to be husbands, so it's really a lose lose on both ends of that spectrum.
Anybody else want to tackle that? Your opinion?
What was the question? I'm sorry. I'm gonna be popping in
Yeah,
it.
we explained
Okay.
that. The question, we're just asking the question: do you think that women are being raised to be wives? I was really asking the guys their opinion on it, because it seems to be something that they are concerned about, like they, have been outspoken about. So I was trying to see if the two guys, how they felt about it, and then we'll talk about it. It's the women.
Um, I think women are being raised to get married but not be wives. I think the idea of marriage versus the idea of being a wife is two different things. And I don't think the weight of marriage is really taught to women. They're just taught that, hey, you need to get something for you, which is the security in marriage. But I don't think women are actually taught to be wives. They're just taught to get married because that's what they see everybody else does. That's what everybody tells them to do. And I just think that I don't think women understand the responsibility that comes with being a wife, or understanding like the grounding, the foundation of it. They just want this thing because it's what they were taught to want and they were shown to want it. And I think it just sets them up for failure, you know? Because for some people, some women is going to work perfectly fine because a lot of guys are malleable. They're not going to try to make you more than what you are. And they're like, well, you're this thing and I accept this thing and how you operate, and they'll just keep going. But for the brothers that feel like marriage should be a certain type of way based upon what they think or what they know, it's going to cause some friction because, in the US, it just seems like the idea of marriage is a very abstract thing that doesn't have the same meaning. And then you also have to run the thing of is that, when you have a fractured image of marriage, even if you get into it, you could be asking yourself for trouble.
Ladies, what do you guys think?
I don't know that most people know what a wife is anymore, men and women included. I think men have this idea of what a wife should be. Women have this idea of what a wife should be. Nobody's discussing what the definitions are with the people that they're looking to enter into marriage with, if they even want marriage at all. I think the whole thing is a little bit of a mess right now. But specifically, are women raised to be wives? I think a lot of them are. I think most parents teach their daughters to be a wife. That doesn't necessarily mean they're taught to be a good wife, right? Because parents are people too. But at the same time, I think a lot of people are opting out of living in the things that they were taught as a child or in their young ages. I think people don't want to ascribe to those things anymore, whether they think it's antiquated and now we're in a modern society, or they just don't understand the benefit for themselves. I think people are going against the way that they were raised.
Um, I'm not sure, just in general, if women have been taught to be wives to begin with. And what I mean by is direct instruction. I think a lot of learning how to be the wife was watching mom be wife to dad, and not necessarily direct instruction. And then when you go like, back in the day, it was just certain things like you didn't see your parents argue, right? They would do that behind closed doors. You would just you would just witness what went on without having direct instruction on what to do as a wife, or I would say as a husband, being in marriage. So you observed and then wondered how to do it, and you figured it out and tried to emulate what you saw. So now I think the fact that you have less and less, marriages, you have less examples, to actually see to be a spouse. And so a lot of people are getting married, but not understanding the weight of what that is going to be until they're in it, and then decide that, like, man, this isn't what I expected, and then opt out.
Hey, them vows is real when it happened.
So what do you think is being what's being missed in, so what are the things that you feel like, so basically what makes a good wife? Just your opinion on what makes a good wife. Because then I
Uh,
want to go into, well, what's missing, so to speak. What do you think the biggest component is that's missing?
I think I had said this before. I think being it, if your goal is to, or desire is to be a good person, I think you have the ability to be a good wife or even a good husband, only because when you're trying to be a good person, you are considering other people's feelings, you are considerate just in general. If you are open to grow, you can make those adjustments. And so I think being a good person should be the goal. And then when you become the wife, making the adjustments necessary to make a marriage work is what being a good wife is. I think we overcomplicate things by trying to but put, kind of like what Inaz was saying, having certain expectations in our mind what a wife should be, and then the guys having certain expectations of what a wife should be, and sometimes those expectations may be different, as opposed to being open to the idea of saying, I want the marriage to work, and you guys discussing what is going to take for you guys to make it work. Because what would work in my home with my husband is not necessarily going to work in, let's say, when Inaz get married, with what her husband is needing and looking for. So
Facts.
I just think that when you're a good person and your goal is to be married and stay married, you'll make the adjustments necessary for the marriage to work. And that's what would make you a good wife.
Yeah, for sure. I think another thing too, especially in this era that we're living in, where people are getting a mass amount of information, as to where the person delivering it, this may not have worked in their relationship, in their marriage, but the love language of the spouse that the person is receiving it in may be something completely different. So that clashes, or even that person delivering it from a bitter state. You know, like Miss Taken said, is really just being a good person and understanding the person that you're with. The in marriage is, you know, you make that vow that it's going to be until death. From that day that you say I do, and the day that you take your last breath. Even just not being married, life is a ever evolution of growth. So if you're not growing together and understanding, you know, the growth process of each person, then it is counterproductive. You know, of course it's going to fail, because you're not in tune with your person. You know, you more so just taking the information that the internet is feeding out to people.
I would say a good wife is relative to the person that she's in covenant with. I also would say more times than not, what I would think is a good wife is a woman that's respectable. She's honorable. She's understanding to a degree. She listens to learn, not listen to respond. Um, uh, um, has good character, good integrity. Um, and then the other stuff is variable based upon the husband she chooses and the belief process of what she thinks marriage is. Because in all actuality, even some of the people that we think are good people, good wives or good whatever, you know, it's relative based upon our thought process. So yeah, but overall, I think if she's respectable, humble, honorable, great character, great integrity, someone understanding, listens, you know what I'm saying? You know, I think these are very viable things to have when you want a quote unquote wife.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think it's subjective.
Okay. Have you been married before, Wiz?
I haven't. I'm actually engaged now.
Okay.
Um, and another part of it too is I've been filming weddings for about 7 years now. So in that journey, in that exposure to seeing how different couples love on each other, and even me submerging myself into uh, what love is, to make it to make it deeper than me just coming out and putting the camera in people's faces. Um, it made me really look into what love is and how people love on each other, and how love works, you know, in marriage. Because right now we're in the black culture, you know, well, just in general, the divorce rate is, you know what I'm saying, is through the roof. But people still get married every year. So what makes the relationship works, and what doesn't make the relationship works, of course, has to be understood before, you know, making that jump. But I think that it really just depends on it depends on that person's love language. uh the wife, the husband understanding, what is this man, this woman, my spouse, what's their love language, how can I love them, how can I be the best support system for them, how can I help them feel vulnerable and safe at the same time. um, for men, one thing that's always been attractive to me is how do I see this woman interact with children? You know, how is she able to nurture children and people? Um, that I think that's a huge part of being a wife as well. So it's all subjective. Some men just want a trophy wife. They just want a motherfucker that look good on their shoulder, you know, and that's it.
Ina, say what you were gonna say.
So I was going to say that the intricacies may depend on the person, but I think there's some generalities that you can apply across the board, right? Does the person have good character? Does the person have good values? Does the person inspire peace? Is the person somebody who would be a good mother? Like those things are pretty static. What that looks like to you specifically is probably going to look different to another man, right? So I think it's important because there's probably people listening or watching who have no idea what the basics are. So I love some of the things that people listed. I was always taught that a wife is covering to her husband the same way that a husband is covering to his wife. Not in the manner that they apply their roles, but a good wife shields her husband from things as well. She's not the protector provider, so what that looks like is going to be different. And just as like examples, like excuse me, she shields his vulnerabilities from the rest of the world. If he's safe with her, he's able to express that to her and trust her that that's something that won't be shared with anybody outside of their covenant. So that's kind of where, or parts of the pieces that I've learned what a good wife is.
You know, something that's interesting that I thought of earlier that kind of like coincides with this conversation. You can really tell the difference in the level of character that the person that you marry has when it's in regards to each individual role. So you can really see the test of a husband based upon how he exerts his authority, and you can really see the character or level of a wife based upon how she used her knowledge and words. You know, because the way I feel like husbands have at least I was taught this, and I kind of believe this. I felt like, or I feel like I was taught that husbands, were graced to be leaders and the authority and the responsibility, right? So they get grace to lead and to cover in that realm. But to humble men, they don't have all the information, they don't have all the knowledge. Now, women are quite perceptive, and I feel like women are given a special amount of knowledge and wisdom from God that they don't be asking for, but they be having it, right? And with that knowledge and foresight, they can either destroy everything or they can grow everything. And you can definitely tell the women that use their maximizing powers for good and the women that use it for evil. So you can really, in my mind, like you really see husbands, like if you have a decent husband based upon how he controls or exerts or manages his household. And you see the women and how they respect and how they talk and how they carry themselves as a representation of this guy. And that depending on the type of wife that you choose, it either be the greatest decision you ever make or the worst.
Facts.
Just had this thought in my head that just came in. So I kind of want you guys feedback on it. Do you think is important or more important? Like I think the responsibility we normally say that is up to the mom to teach a daughter to be a good wife. But my thought that I just came, I think it's important for the mom to teach the girls to be a woman, to be a lady. But I think it makes more sense for the dad to teach the daughter how to be a wife, and vice versa. Like I think it's very important for a dad to teach his son how to be a man and take care, of the home and in a role as a man. But I think it's important for the mom to teach him how to love as a husband,
Hmm.
right? So I'm wondering, like, what are y'all thoughts on that? Because I know typically we say it's for a man to teach another, like his son, how to be a husband, and a
Hmm.
woman to teach their daughter how to be a wife. But I think a man only knows how to teach through a man's lens, whereas sometimes that don't align with what a woman needs, and vice versa.
Yeah. No, everything that you said is true. We now, again, this era that we're in where everything is just crazy. The family is broken. As you stated, the the husband does teach the daughter how to be a wife, and vice versa. It's really all a joint venture of pouring into your seed to make them the best person that they can be. Uh, Growing up, I grew up in a single parent home, uh, but there, what I took in and what I learned as being the oldest in the house, the oldest child, was that um, it's my duty to take out the trash. It's my duty to make sure that everybody is in the house is safe. It's my duty to make sure I hold the door for my mama. That um, if we went and bought groceries, I'm bringing in all the groceries. You know what I'm saying? Those basic standards of being uh, of becoming a man is essentially the same thing that a wife would expect for their husband, from their husband. So I mean, it all goes hand in hand. But we're in this age where so many broken families, and where uh, men walk away from their responsibilities, and women prevent men from, what I'm saying, stepping up and doing what they got to do sometimes. So it is, everybody is kind of taking, is objective to those roles, to the gender roles that we have, but is absolutely needed in this cycle of life and for the longevity of the Black family.
So, the only thing about it is, I think that when we speak on these panels, everything is in general, right? It's not a one. I think that it's important to say it's not a one size fits all
Right.
situation, because I've met men who don't feel like they like strong women. I've met men who they just look for different things. When I walk into the in the real life, it's not what I see. What we talk about is not what I see. For example, the femininity, like I actually see the opposite a lot more than I see. It's almost like men are like, we want this, but then it's not the reality. You understand what I'm saying? It's like
Uh,
in their head, like I don't
I
know.
I I hear that a lot, and I get that for sure. But I feel like in those situations, and I may be wrong. Maybe I may be interpreting what you're saying incorrectly, but I feel like the in those cases, the men that feel that voice that and show something different are typically the men that most women don't want.
So okay, so when okay, so we're talking about husbands,
Right.
okay?
Okay.
Um, so women want husbands.
Right.
I talk about Playboy that people desire and they ain't never gonna settle down, right? I'm talking about husbands. So when we see men who have married, what I have seen, and this is just my observation.
Right.
A lot of times it's the woman in control of the situation. And now he may be a quiet authority, like he may be the guy who just doesn't speak much. She's just the face of it all, and it seems that way. But what I've seen through observation, because since I started this podcast, I have this thing where I like to observe people, right? Promise I should have majored in like sociology or something. But what I noticed is the dynamic is always like he's like pleasing her. Like the man likes to please the woman, or she's the dominant force especially in our dynamic. I don't really look at, other cultures, but in our dynamic, it seems like he's aiming to please her, or she's the voice, she's the strong-willed one, and he's just like, yes, my wife. You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah, that's exactly what it is.
And so when I say that, there goes the femininity. You know what I'm saying? Like, because when I look at,
okay, I see what
I'm
you're
not
saying.
seeing what you guys are saying that you want. Maybe it's coming out a little bit different,
Right?
but
No, I see what
not
you're saying.
seeing that in real life when it comes to a husband and wife dynamic.
So I think
I'm gonna say too. Go ahead, and then Nas.
Yeah. Well, yeah, my bad. Go ahead. I saw you holding your finger up. I wasn't sure what that meant.
That's her church finger.
She got the church
finger. Not church. No. It's just signaling that I would like a turn. That's all. I think though, Shay, because I think that's a fair point, but I think that also speaks to the statistic that 50% of marriages don't work out. I think that's a big part of it, because same with women, what you want and what you desire may not be what you wind up with. Mm-hmm. And that may be a determining factor in whether or not your marriage lasts or not. So it might be that that's who he chose, and maybe she did change along the way after he gave her the ring. But we're also dealing with a coin toss of whether or not people's marriages are going to work out. So, of course, we're going to see a lot of inconsistencies between what people say and how they're actually living their lives, because we're not seeing a very high success rate at this point.
Correct.
Well, so I think to answer your question, I think that what it is that you're seeing in that sense is men, and of course we're speaking generally, but men's objective in life is to please their woman. A husband's objective in life is to please their wife. With the old saying, happy wife, happy life, as much as we, like to say, okay, well, no, it's happy spouse, happy house. At the end of the day, the woman has the most power in the relationship, regardless. You know what I'm saying? Just being a buck. Women have the power in the relationship. So a man is going to do whatever it is that he got to do to make this woman happy, because that's his woman. That's his job. That's what he's supposed to do. That's what he want to do. So, and yeah, that may be putting the man's emotions and feelings on the back burner. But that's just kind of how traditionally most men was raised. That's how I was raised. My feelings matter, but me making sure that the house is good, me making sure that my wife is good, then that's, you know what I'm saying, that just comes with the territory.
I don't agree at all that it's men's job or husband's job to make their wives happy. Happiness is an eternal thing, because if you live your life trying to give somebody something that you can't give them happiness. Happiness exists within that person. You can choose to be happy. You can choose to be sad. You can have feelings about other things, but in reality, it's their choice whether or not they want to be happy or not. But also, I agree that as men, we were taught to basically cater to women, give them everything. A lot of us grew up with happy wife, happy life, right? But as we continue to watch some of those relationships and how they actually operate, and dissect the situation, we're just like, hey, that might not be an accurate statement. Now, I would say that the interesting thing for me when it comes to specifically Ms. Taken's question, if you believe that husband and wife is a thing when you get married that you become one, it does a disservice to the child if only one person is responsible for teaching this person, right? And then also you start realizing that a lot of the times when men teach their daughters, they go overboard, and it has a negative effect long term. Vice versa, if women teach their sons, it's more than likely going to be overboard more times than not, because oftentimes we teach out of our experience and it's from a limited perspective, right? So when I'm teaching, if I were to teach my daughter, I'd be like, you don't need to worry about this, you don't need to worry about this, you don't need to worry about this, right? And to add balance to that, the wife or the mother should be able to add some gray area stuff to help add nuance and add, like, some weight and some balance to this. Because if it was only left up to the husbands to teach daughters how to be wives, and vice versa, if it was only left up to the wives to teach the sons how to be husbands, we'll be creating the exact same issues that we got. So if it take two to make the kid, it should take two to teach the kid. And I think that if you're supposed to be married, and some people believe when you get married, you become one, it doesn't make sense for one to be responsible for teaching one when it's supposed to be both of y'all are one. So you only giving half of you to the child, and then you also don't give them enough to really, bridge the gap between the perspective of how a woman thinks and how a man thinks. Because a brother just gonna try to protect you. He see the dangers that's coming to your life, and he's gonna try to protect his daughter the best way possible. And also, a lot of brothers, especially in different cultures, they're not even trying to protect themselves, protect the children as much as you think. Really, they're trying to get these kids out of the house so that he not responsible. So now you got to add that kind of layers that, yo, I love you and I care about you, but at some point you're going to have to go and be a productive member of society. So I ain't got to take care of you. So versus where a lot of mothers do, they want them kids to be there as long as possible and shelter and nurture them for like forever long that they can, because that's that strong attachment that a lot of nurturing mothers have, is that, oh, you're my baby. This child 47, he's still your baby. That ain't crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that we can't expect just one side to give an accurate representation of how a husband or a wife should be.
Let me point this out too real quick, if I can, just to clear it up. Now, what I was saying by making my spouse happy, right? Of course, you can't make someone happy, but you can create an environment, you know what I'm saying, as to where that she can strive. And the goal for her should be the same, for her to create an environment for you to be the best husband that you can be. So yeah, of course, no one can make you happy, but if there's an intention in you to want to do that for your spouse, I think that that's what creates the longevity of relationships, of understanding the dance of going above and beyond, but also having that boundary set as well. You know what I'm saying? And that being known. So just if that makes sense, just to clear up, everyone's kind of pointing that out. But of course, no one can make you happy, but creating that environment for your spouse, that matters a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because that means a lot to a person, especially if they're going through something. Is you're there, you made the commitment to be there to get with that person and help them get through whatever it is that they're going through.
Hey, listen, I agree with you 100%. Um, I just attacked the um just the words that was used because I understand that, a man's responsibility is to protect in more ways than one. And if you create the right environment for a house, that protects you as well. And that adds to, the blessings that you receive as a husband. So I'm
Right.
with you 100%. It's just
Yeah.
that particular statement, like a lot of times we say things that people kind of understand and they'll just run with what we said verbatim. And then that'll be their mantra or their idea of how they should carry it. Like, yeah, that's right. But we don't dissect the actual words and statements that's being made. And then people go and follow these things. And then when they find out it don't work, they're going to be like, well, crap, I was lied to. It's not that you were lied to. It's just that sometimes people don't read between the lines and add things to what we say. They hear that thing, they see the clip, they clip it in their mind, and they take just that thing and go on and with their own interpretation of that situation. So
Yeah.
when I hear
I
certain
agree.
things, I understand that brothers and women, very smart, very articulate folks, but there be some things that be said. I'd be like, hey, I know you didn't mean anything by this. I know you didn't mean any issue. You didn't want to cause no problem. But there's just certain things that when people say certain things, I'm like, all right, I understand what you're trying to say, but that's not what you said. But listen. I know that you're a smart brother, and I know that you're articulate, and I know exactly that you and your future husband stage that you're about to walk into, you desire to want to make sure that a woman that agrees to be with you should have a good time.
Facts.
Um, just one thing that I had, I guess in my mind came to a different understanding. I can't say whether or not it's better or not. Is just understanding for myself. Is I definitely believe that a person can make you unhappy, right? You can be in a relationship and be unhappy, right? The person can make you unhappy. So if a person can make you unhappy, then I think the opposite is true. A person can make you happy. I think the
100%.
difference between the two is like, I know we say, you're supposed to have your own happiness or be happy on your own, but since you were talking about like words, for me, my understanding is that I believe that you should be able to have your own level of being content, because content is a little bit different than happiness. To me, happiness is fleeting and based more so on certain circumstances or things that happen, like special events or somebody did something, so it makes you happy. To me, happy is a fleeting emotion, so to speak. Whereas I think contentment is more sustainable in like inner peace, is something that's not necessarily weighed on what exterior forces occur, right? It's more like an inner peace. So I this is just for me, my own understanding of having the expectation to have somebody make you happy and maintain that happiness. I think is like not going to happen because you can't even do that yourself.
Right.
Um, but I do think what you can do on your own and work to, craft is a level of contentment, making sure that where you are right now, not saying that you won't strive to do better or, yeah, just strive to do better, that you can't necessarily be you can also be at peace with where you're at while you're still striving to do better, whether it's better in your job, better in your relationship, better with your relationship with yourself. I think that part should be ongoing, whereas I think it's okay to say, yes, my husband makes me happy, or yes, my wife makes me happy.
It's
Because
healthy.
make you right. If they can make you unhappy, they should be able to make you happy as well.
Yeah, I think that we overcomplicate it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, we come up with these ideas, and I 100% agree with you as far as with wording, because the way that people word things is everything, right? The other part of it as well is that people aren't using their own brain in those situations. So to for me to take the vows before God and say that I'm here with you to spend the rest of my days with you. If me not making you happy, you know what I'm saying, is not a part of what I'm doing to be here with you, then what the fuck we get married for? You know what I'm saying? The, what am I here for aside from paying bills? You know what I'm saying? If my old lady come in the crib, she had a bad day, whatever, um, and I see it, and me going out of my way to run her bath water, you know what I'm saying, and pour her a glass of wine, that's me making her happy. You know what I'm saying? It's not me putting on a going and making a 3-course meal and trying to get somebody to come in and, you know what I'm saying, do the extreme. It's just doing the basics of showing that I love this woman, and my goal is to try to make life as easy as possible together so that we can spend as much of it together.
Okay, here's my counter.
But
Um,
I think it's important to say, I don't think she wants to do anything less than him. I will hope it's reciprocated, if that makes sense.
At the minimum, what am I here for if it's not reciprocated?
well, the thing is the vows covers all of that. It's for richer, for poor, sickness and health. There are seasons in life where you have nothing, you don't have much to give because of how life has become. So as much as it sounds nice to be like, oh, this person can make me happy, this person can make me sad. Let's use the example of cheating. Some people would be like, if you cheat on me, I'm not going to be happy about that. I don't like it. You know, listen, I'm pissed off at you. You don't make me happy because you cheated on me. Another person can have a perspective of, I mean, you're just a guy and you be cheating. And I understand that about you. And that doesn't make me any less happy or upset with you because I understand you. So there's a way that you can feel good about a person. This person makes me feel good, or quote unquote, I feel happy, but I still think it relies heavily on your perspective on what happiness is. If you think happiness is just you feeling good, that's a different argument. And I think that the great thing that everybody should strive for in a marriage specifically is the outserving portion. If you take care of that person and that person takes care of you, everybody's taken care of. It's a very simple concept that, listen, if you outserving each other, then that means that even though you're not thinking about yourself, you're thinking about her. If she has the same mindset that you have, everybody's being taken care of at the same time. Your needs ain't the same as hers and vice versa. So I understand the idea of what you're saying, Ms. Taken. I get it. But overall, I still think there's a strong perspective issue as far as, like how you think and how you receive the information in front of you dictates how you feel about those things that you got going on.
So this is, so I'm not married, so this is just my input. Now I will say that there are times when you talk about happy. Now, if your happiness is almost weighing on your mental health, basically. If you're getting to the point where you're depressed, this dude is literally, or this woman is literally bringing on depression, because there are situations like this, um, not unhealthy situations. I think that it's probably time, because your health is your wealth, right? it's probably time to leave the situation. Now, if you're just saying superficial happiness, like, oh, I just feel like I deserve better, that's totally different. But I will also say that when it comes, the last episode, and I try to make them not talk about it, but Marcus them, they real hard headed. We talked about, relationships towards the end. And my thing is this: if you're doing something consistently in a relationship and it's damaging a relationship, and that's for her and for him. For example, women like to, not have sex. I've heard that the sex life goes down. That can be detrimental to the relationship. She should not be doing that. On the flip side, if he's out here, giving it to everybody can get it, that too can be a problem with the relationship. And it's like, how many times are going to say this over and over and over again? The arguments, if y'all sitting here fighting over the same thing. I think that people should always work to be better, right? I do believe, the vows do say for rich or for poor. They don't say for lazy. They don't say for I'm just gonna not do my job. I'm in a relationship. I'm just gonna be the bum. I'm not the same person I showed up to be. It don't say none of that, right? So with that being said, we have to, if you're gonna work into a relationship, it's not a place where you should just be like, I got it, I'm gonna stop working on it. Because that's when you get in trouble, and that's where all of these issues start to come up. It's not, she should love me anyway, even though I've gained 50 pounds and I just sit on the couch and I don't do nothing. I lost my job, but I'm not looking for another one. No. Get up. And the same goes true for her. She don't want to cook nothing. She don't want to help with the, she doesn't do anything. So I think that there are things that happen in relationships, and of course, is a situational basis that take place, and people are like, I've had enough. I cannot do it anymore. And I'm not talking about the superficial reason. I'm talking about the real, like, you're not even the same person who showed up. You're just a totally different person. You've just given up. Because, depressed people can depress other. Like, have you ever been around a person who's depressed and they just bring your whole, and imagine live with that every day.
Yeah, it's heavy.
It's heavy. It can stress will kill you.
Yeah.
So, the goal is just to have a happy, not a happy, but just a balanced relationship.
A balanced, healthy relationship.
A balanced, healthy relationship.
That's what content is.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's I don't think that is go ahead.
Okay, and this is the thing. This is what I hate about this space, right? Any other time they not talking about the Bible. It's like, who said we was into the Bible? Then you don't benefit from the Bible. It's like, oh, but the Bible said, but I thought yesterday you weren't even into the Bible. Like, pick, you know what I'm saying? God's listening. But figure out what you want to do, right? And do it what works for you. Now, I will say another part of it is men are saying they don't want to be married. Why are you looking for a wife if you don't even want to be married? That doesn't make sense to me.
It's contradictory. Again, and I get it on both sides. Both sides are hurt, right? Men are hurt, women are hurt. You know what I'm saying? Somebody had their heart broke at some point, and they said, "Fuck all men, fuck all women." I get it. Or I'm not doing this anymore because this person didn't appreciate it. That's part of life. You know what I'm saying? We're adults. There's if the relationship wasn't healthy, if both sides didn't have the understanding of we're in this together, right? That's what love is. Love is we're doing this together. And if both sides don't understand that, then of course it's always going to be conflict. There's no way to get around it because both sides got their guards up. So now both sides are being overly protective of what it is that they want to and willing to invest into the relationship. You know what I'm saying? Marriage is an investment. Being with a person in a relationship, that's an investment. So what are you willing to invest into it? You get what you give. So I think that a lot of people now are uh, are making decisions from a hurt space, in which I get it. Shit happens. That's part of life. Life has its ups and downs. But when you find that person that you can create this space with, and both sides uh, are the feelings is mutual, everything is reciprocated, then that's fucking beautiful. You know what I'm saying? It's the best feeling in the world. I want to make you happy. You know what I'm saying? Because of that, because you make me happy. So I don't know.
Well, I think that brothers are looking for wives, even though they don't want to be married, is because in order for you to deal with some women, you got to give something up. They like, you're not going to be here if you don't want to marry me. So some brothers be like, well, shoot, I don't really want to be married, but I'll do this if it means that I get you. And then with most people not really having any real understanding of marriage, and most people will even tell you, even the most successful marriages say, hey, you make the rules. So I'm going to make this marriage the way that I want to. I don't really want marriage the way that most people would say. But now I'm making this sacrifice to take this responsibility for you. And I'm going to make this the way that I want to. And so that I get you just by doing this.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's how it should be. As you being the man, as you being the head of your household, hell yeah, you supposed to, you know what I'm saying? Hey, this is what it is. You lead the way. And however it is that look for you, that's what it is. Lay it out, find you a woman that agrees with it, and you know what I'm saying, live happily ever after. But the thing is that most people aren't looking for people that want that same thing and willing to invest the same thing into it.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes,
Do
sir.
you think it would be better to find a woman that doesn't want to be married? Or do you think it's better to get married anyway, knowing you don't want to be married, but you're going to make this compromise/sacrifice in order for you to appease this woman? Which one
I
you think is
think
better?
I think that a person is a fool if they get married not wanting to get married. I think that they're a negligent person, human being.
Works for me.
Yeah, I think that's just being negligent.
What's up, brother? Apologies to everybody for being late. I had a funeral today that I spaced out on, and a couple people that I lost this week. So
My
you work
condolences.
with me. Thank you. Uh, we got Elam with 1999. There's no such thing as a love language, energy, and zodiac. You know your wife is before you know who your wife is before you marry her, from her action and treatment, equally yoked, and not who makes more money. The softness of a woman is her greatest asset, I would assume he was going to say. I agree with portions of that. Elam with the 499. A man's job is to carry the family on his back like an atlas. Women are to get guidance from the husband and be over the children. 19 years married, y'all, at 39. So he got married at 20. Congratulations, brother. Keep doing
Yeah,
your
congratulations.
thing. Again, people say you can't have relationships and move forward. In the past, I was with a lot of my homies. They all got women or wives, and this brother got 19 years in. So it ain't what you do, it's how you do it. You can make it work.
Absolutely. I would have to question him saying that there's no such thing as love languages. In which I think that there are absolutely uh, levels or different types of love languages for different type of women. There most there's most women can be categorized in different categories or whatnot, that they appreciate one thing over the other compared to a different woman. And understanding that, you know what I'm saying, is important. A woman's love language, if they're a introvert, may not be them, may not be you taking them out to the club, but more so going and setting up a bar at the house or something. You know what I'm saying? Compared to an extrovert, as to where she will want to get out and be trophied as a trophy wife. You know what I'm saying? There's some women that want to be held on that pedestal, and there's some that don't. That's all a part of a woman's love language, of a person's love language. You know, same thing for men. If some men are more laid back, I'm gonna play the background type of deal, woo, woo, woo. And there's some men that, you know what I'm saying, that's flashy. They flashy as hell. I did a wedding where the wife had gifted her husband a watch. And it was, you know what I'm saying, it was a blingy ass watch, you know, shiny as hell. And on camera, when he looking at the watch and he putting it on, he like, man, this ain't even my style. You know what I'm saying? That's knowing someone's love language. So I
You
would
know
have to say that's
that reminds me of, I always said to myself, when my husband gets, when my guy comes engaged with me, I'm gonna give him a Rolex.
yeah.
Like, gives me a ring, I'm gonna give
Now
him a
now what kind of Rolex though? You know what I'm
I know it's
saying?
different levels. I can't do that presidential.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Is it gonna be a bust down? Is it, you know what I'm saying, nothing on the
It's
bezel,
gonna
or
be
you
the
gonna get
Lord.
it rocked out?
We in baby steps. A little
Yeah,
small investment.
if a woman gets me a Rolex, I'd be cool. But I personally, I want a different kind of watch, like a Tag Heuer or a Breitling. I don't like the logo of Rolex. It bothers me a great deal.
Why?
Uh, why?
Hmm.
Because it looked like a little King Trident looking crown. Like the crown just bothers me the way that it looks.
The
Like,
tag heuer
and
crown look like a shield. It's like very similar.
no, but it's even the way the watches look. Like, really, don't. It's just like a Louis bag. Like, the only reason why you're paying for this watch is because Rolex is on it. It don't really look like that exciting of a watch. Like, it don't really give off style or anything like that. You just know it has value because you know the name. Just like when you find out like certain cars, like a Bentley or Rolls Royce, is literally another car. Like, it's like you're really just paying for the image of this thing and the name of this thing. You're not actually paying for it because it's actually better.
Well, the Bentley
Well, that's,
kind
yeah,
of is
that's
better.
arguable.
Like
That's
when that Fin
arguable.
come out at 60, you be like, God damn.
Yeah,
And then that
that's
V12,
arguable,
it
bro.
hit different.
Yeah,
Like
that
if you was to argue like I don't know like well we're not gonna get into cars and shit,
Yeah,
but
let's
yeah.
not.
I get what you.
Look, y'all always it'll be one comment and y'all just go off on a
Mm.
like it just to California. Like,
Uh,
I mean, it's important because it's like let's think about this like this. Like,
no, so I get what you're saying. You want to make sure. So the guy that I date would like a Rolly, okay? So she needs to
Rolling,
understand what
rolling,
you're
rolling
taking
with a
to him. So
bezel
now
on.
we know HD
exactly.
does not want a Rolly from me. Okay.
yeah,
Exactly.
I literally said that's the first thing I said. I said I would be cool, but I was like, I wouldn't personally want a Rolex. I want a Breitling or a Tag Heuer or something
And
like
that's
that.
what she would need to learn about you, right?
Get him a steel Timex and call it a day.
And there it is. You have to learn your partner, and that this is a simple case of what we've been talking about the whole time. Everybody is different. It's
Right.
never going to be
Exactly.
a one size fits all.
Exactly.
So we can have this
Exactly.
conversation all
All
day
day.
long. Like I
All
see
day.
people in the chat talking about, oh, I want to lead my household. I found a man this week who told me he wants somebody who they can figure it out together. He was like, I be stressed out from just work. So if we could just figure this shit out together, you don't got to rely on me to, you
Yeah.
do stuff, I do some stuff. But you hear on here people saying, oh, I want my woman to submit. Some men don't care about that. They just
Right.
wanted to work.
Right.
How are we
Right.
gonna work on this and make our both of our lives easy by being together, right?
Exactly.
So
By
it's
putting
just
that money together as well.
put that money
Shan,
together.
Shan, no, I agree with all of that. But Shan, how often do women say, I'm not happy with this guy because I feel like I can't look up to him, or they feel like that he's not a leader, or they feel like he not. I've even heard, I don't use the
So
term. I've heard people say, "Oh, he not an alpha male. I want an alpha male," or they say things that denote
I think
that
they say
they
things
don't.
they don't think they don't know what that is, right? So this is what so what happens is what I've learned about the people I've seen is when people don't have something, they go straight for the exact opposite. No middleman. They just like, I just, I've been there with this one and I just want this, right? And they don't even know what they're asking for, in all honesty. They just want anything besides his butt, right? So when I think of leadership, leadership is when I walk away from a situation, I know that if something were to happen, this guy is not going to lead this. I can follow him blindly. I know he thinks like I think. We're on the same page. I don't have to be here when he makes decisions. And I'm sure he feels the same way about her. Probably don't call it leadership, but it's almost the same thing. Can I trust you with my life, our kids? If something were to go down, can I trust your decisions? Right?
Right.
That's the leadership. When you trust somebody's leadership. Now, when women say they want a masculine man, that's usually because, like I said before, you probably got your little lazy bum. He probably on your couch. You done got mad at you. It was cute at first because you thought you could do something with that.
It
But
was a
now you're
project.
realizing he ain't getting up from that couch. Okay. Nobody's attracted to that. Not nobody. Some of the people on 600 pounds and they okay with that. Most women are not okay with that. And so that can become unattractive to most women. You can find some women who are okay with it, but for most women, this is not the same as a man losing his job. That's not the same thing. We're talking about a man who loses his job and he just sits in it. He's not trying to do anything else. He's just sitting in it, right?
Mhm.
Women aren't attracted to that. So again, it's the case by case situation. If she's in a relationship and he's doing just that, she's going to want the exact opposite. I want a man who can take charge because she's probably making all the decisions. She's not making no decisions at all. Because I don't see anybody who's doing balanced things that are really out here complaining. It's usually because she's probably taking on a bulk of the situation. She's probably
Right.
doing a lot more than he's doing. And she's looking at him like, nigga, what you doing?
Right.
So in the relationship that I'm thinking of, where that is the dynamic, honestly, I don't think she could be with no other type of man. She
What
says
do you
she
mean?
wants this, so she'll say, "I want a man that does this, that takes charge." That's leadership. But realistically, if she was dating him, they'd be broke up within the first 24 hours. Because men who
People
take charge ain't trying to hear you yip and yap and bigger and argue with them and tell them how things gonna be and
Well,
nitpick and do poke off. No, niggas don't be
well,
trying to hear that shit.
I think that so
So
many women
that's it.
forget that it's his life too. It's not just you. It's not just about your happiness. He should be happy as well. He has
mhm,
one life to live as well. So
mhm.
why should you just be happy and he not be happy? Like,
I,
what?
I think that women that say that they want a alpha male, those are women that in most cases are just regurgitating what they hear on the internet. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Because a real woman isn't going to say, "Oh, I need me an alpha male." You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. I'm just speaking in general from what I can assume, but most women that just want a man, a solid man, they're not going to be like, "Oh, I want an alpha male," because most men that are alpha males, you know what I'm saying, they don't even call themselves alpha males. You know what I'm saying? They exude it. They just carry it. You know what I'm saying? That's just what they are.
And
So
the weird thing about that is I think energy attracts the energy that's necessary for it. So if
fact.
you radiating from the energy that I know my man Elam say, well, I'm gonna read your super chat. Elam with the 1999, because I heard you say energy don't exist and love language don't exist. So love language does not exist. Again, we're gonna parrot your point. My wife knows what I say or do before she acts, and vice versa. It's called equally yoked. I know you beforehand, that's why I married you. Shouldn't have to ask because you already know that. Now, I think that people's energy attracts the person that's specific for them. So if you want an extremely submissive woman and you don't seem to attract those type of women, it may be something that you missing, bro. Like honestly, uh, the one of the key elements of leadership is accountability. And if you can't look in the mirror and figure out why is this type of person not attracted to me, or why am I not able to sustain this type of relationship with this type of person, you're failing in that alone. Because I could pick apart like, hey, I failed at this, and this is the reason why. My time management wasn't how I would like it to be. I didn't prioritize, and then you break that down, and then you try and work on those things. But yeah, you can't be claiming to be all these things and not understand what accountability actually look like. So that may be the solution for somebody that's struggling with that. Appreciate the 1999, Elon. Yes, sir.
So I wanted to address that comment too. I think sometimes when somebody's been married for that long, they've gotten to a routine, so they have that understanding of each other, right? The love languages isn't supposed to be a crutch, it's supposed to be a tool to understand your person more, to get to that place. You're not supposed to hold on to it or leverage it over each other. It's supposed to be in the beginning stages to allow you to understand what makes that person feel appreciated, what makes them feel warm, what makes them feel validated, until you can get to that place where Elam was talking about just kind of stepping side by side automatically.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think that what the love language is and what it is that he's used comparing it to is two different things. Um, saying that my wife knows, you know what I'm saying, what I'm thinking before I say it, that's not necessarily a love language. You know what I'm saying? That's your wife just knowing who you are. We're repetitive creatures. We're creatures of habits, especially men. So if your wife of 29 years or however long you said doesn't know you at this point, then that's a big problem. Like I would hope that she would be able to, you know what I'm saying, know what you're about to say. Yeah, that's being equally yoked, but y'all had to do the work in the beginning of understanding each other to even get to that point. That's why, again, why marriages don't have a longevity that it used to back in the day. Even though they may not have known about love languages, but with the advancement of technology and understanding relationships, uh, this is an actual fact. I again commend you on achieving what you achieve, but I think that that's a dangerous line to blur for people that are trying to get to that point of telling them that there aren't any love languages, and thus to leave them up to not understanding this person that they're committing their life to.
Can somebody put up what couples light said? Just because that kind of stood out to me. No, not that one. The one at 11:25. Yeah. Needing a person to know your language is damage. Needing someone to give you something in order for you to feel validated is wrong. And I think that understanding of that, and even what Ina said, is not on the mark. I don't think it's really about um, saying, I need you to do this to make me feel validated. It's very important for you to know how you need to be loved. So I think it's more of a need language, and I should be able to articulate what I need from my spouse or my mate, right? And vice versa. So it is very important for you as a partner to know the needs of your other partner, and for your partner to express what those needs are.
Hmm.
um you know, it that's I think that's part of, not part, but a major
It's a
part of
major part.
relationship with anybody,
Yeah.
whether it's a friendship, whether it's a marriage, whether it's a relationship with siblings.
Shit, or even in business.
Right. You need to know the needs of the person that you're dealing with in order to better communicate and build a stronger bond. So if you think that a love language or knowing your language, or knowing your needs is like not a good thing, I don't understand it. And it doesn't mean like validation in a sense of I need you to always tell me, X, Y, and Z so I can feel good about myself. No, that kind of work is individual work, but your partner should support you while you're going through the process of that work. But everybody needs some level of validation. That's just a human experience. It's a human experience. Like
Yeah.
I don't need validation, but you do.
You do.
Especially if you're in relationship with somebody. Like I'm quite sure Marcus likes to hear, or at times wants to hear, and we hear guys on here all the time talking about y'all don't appreciate men. Just that in general alone is saying, just in different
They
words,
want to be validated.
to validate me, right? So, I mean, as Marcus being a husband, I'm quite sure he appreciates when his wife says, you know what, babe, I appreciate the things that you do for us as a fam, as the head of our family. That's validation. He needs to hear that he's doing a good job,
Yeah.
from time to time. And same thing as a wife. I'm quite sure, I know I appreciate when my husband, just out of the blue says, you know what, I really appreciate the things that you do for us, or I really appreciate how you've been taking care of me.
Right.
That's a level of validation for me to let me know that he appreciates me and sees that I'm trying, that I'm doing a good job. You know what I'm
That
saying?
then
So
and that's the bare minimum.
yeah, I hate when people get on these things like they have to be so tough that they don't need anybody. I can be happy by myself. I don't need nobody's validation. Like we're supposed to be connected. We're built to be around other people. And so when you're in a marriage, that just supposed to deepen even further and just to act like, like, oh, no, it's not.
I think it was a study done with some babies where they fed them, clothed them, changed their pamper, but they gave them no human interaction. I think those babies passed away. I would have to find this
Man,
study.
come on, man.
They
Hey.
did that with the monkey. I saw
Okay.
that too with the monkey. They put they had a monkey that was in like isolation, but then they gave them a fake mother, like I think it was like an ironing board or something with like clothes on it, and the baby monkey would just always gravitate towards the warmth and development, was able to develop better than the monkey that didn't have it. Yeah, we're built to be together. And now he's saying that that's codependency. Yes, I'm codependent. I'm supposed to be.
Forever.
I'm
Inez got
supposed to
something
be.
to
I'll be
say.
codependent. You're
She
supposed to
got
be.
a church finger up too.
All right, I'm gonna knock this out there and you go ahead and drop it. So forever stood with the $10. Being equally yoked doesn't automatically give you insight to your partner's needs. It needs change. Communication and willingness to have conversation is the key. Married 11 years. Salute to you,
Yes,
brother.
sir.
For 11 years married.
Yes, sir.
See, look at these great black men married and dot. And we got one more. All right, you got this right after this. Elam with the 1999. Salute to you, big dog. He been coming through with these big boy super chats. Elam he got money. He got the bag over there. All right, so women want an alpha, and the man wants a woman like him the same as always. Men show love through action, and we want the wife to give the husband all your problems for us husbands to fix, because we are problem solvers.
Facts.
Salute, Elam. All right, you got enough.
Appreciate it. So I hate when people say like the idea of codependence, like we're not symbiotic creatures, like we don't need each other and like create our own little mini ecosystem in order to actually flourish. I think people would really need to understand what codependence means, because if you believe that asking your partner or your spouse to fulfill your needs is codependent, then you should never feel any sort of ways about the women that say, I don't need a man.
Right.
Facts.
It just simply, it doesn't make sense. You need to, there needs to be more consistency in the messaging, because interdependence is really what it's supposed to be. We do need each other to flourish and reach our highest levels. But to what the other gentleman was saying, all that love languages is really supposed to do is give people language around expressing their needs. I think before this tool came out, a lot of people didn't understand how to articulate what these needs were. And this created parameters for people to have a common understanding and say, I need to be touched more often. I need to hear you say things more often. I need to feel more connected in the time that we spend together. It allowed people to have a way to talk to each other about these things where most people seem to be on the same page. Yes, needs change. I think as we change as human beings, those needs change, or the circumstances change, those needs change, and how they need to be fulfilled changes. If you've ever taken the test at two different points in time, it probably gave you two different sets of results. And that's proof of it. It's not supposed to be static. It's not supposed to be, well, you're not loving me this way. It's supposed to say, hey, this is just what I need more of. And I think people have taken this concept of this book and ran with it so far that we've all, or most of us, have missed the point.
Yeah.
So, what did you say, HD?
I forgot the mic was all the way back there. My bad. But
Look like you about to get a freestyle
To,
session from
to
in the basement.
so
Yo, TV raps era.
So to sum this all up, right? So we're saying that you had so when we say women aren't, women aren't raised wives. They're just saying you aren't raised to coexist with another person in the same household and work together, have a partnership. That's what you're saying.
You think that most women are raised to coexist? Do you think most people are raised to coexist with the opposite? So a man, a woman, a man, or whatever type of relationship
I don't
dynamic you
think
have.
I don't think that that's the thing. No, I think like Mistaken says, it's just something you see. If you have two parents and you watch them all your life, you're doing it indirectly. But I don't think that people just sit there. And now I do think that there was a wives school back in the day for the privileged, maybe like etiquette classes, all that kind of stuff. But for the majority the people, I don't think that that was a thing. I think that it's just, you're raised to be a woman. If you're a woman, you're raised to be a woman. Maybe you're in the kitchen because that's what women do, or you're raised to do things that women do. Men are raised to do what men do. I don't think it necessarily was like, oh, I'm raising you to be a husband. I'm raising you to be a wife.
If you had to isolate it to such a complex thing as what it takes to be a illustrious, incredible, devoted, present, beautiful woman, to three things, right? Can y'all each give me the three things you say? If you do these three things, you're gonna be all right in a marriage. What do you think those three things
In
are?
a marriage?
Yeah. You do these three things, you will be all right in a marriage. What do you think those three things would be?
I think that the first thing that you have to be open to is compromising. The second thing is vulnerability. And the third is being open to that growth and that change. You want to be firm in who you are so that you don't lose yourself, but you also want to be aware of, again, as human beings, we always grow and evolve. Who we all are 10 years ago is somebody completely different. Who we are 5 years ago, shit, for some people a year ago, is completely different. So it's an ever evolving and changing thing. So I think that those three things will equate to a healthy and long-lasting marriage.
Anybody else want to play that game?
All right. So I say, first and foremost, listen to learn. It's the first thing I tell a woman. You got to listen to learn. Don't listen to respond, because women are very good at hearing one thing and attacking just that one thing instead of actually genuinely approaching the conversation in good faith, um, and just like really trying to understand what's the purpose of what's being said. Okay, that's one. Two, realize everything ain't about you. Some of the issues that your husband has with you have nothing to do with you. Some of the things that he needs you to do or that you need to do, um, are about the bigger picture, not just your personal picture. So yeah, it's not always about you. The third thing is your level of character and who you are and integrity, um, will probably keep you in that relationship longer than if you don't have certain qualities about you, certain character, certain mannerisms, certain integrity, certain understandings about a brother. Um, because it's easy to get into the room of marriage, but it's hard to stay in it because of the intangibles that don't really show its ugly head until time is invested.
Is it really easy to get into marriage these days?
Yeah, some women get married multiple times. The thing is getting married to the person that you want to get married to.
Yeah. Okay.
So the concept is simple, but I mean, just because it's simple don't make it easy. So yeah, so it is pretty easy to get married if you really want to. You can just go down to the justice of peace. But women be like, don't disrespect me and not give me a wedding. Some women are like that. Some women be like, well, you need to have this or have that. Listen, the concept of marriage is actually pretty simple.
Yeah, but getting in a marriage. Oh, so,
It's
so
also
I'm
simple because
it,
a lot of women have been proposed to multiple times. They could have been
yeah, but,
married by
okay,
now.
but you said it right. Are they being proposed to by the people they want to be proposed to? See, that's what we start off wrong right there, right? So there are women who get married just for the sake of
Getting
getting,
married. Yep.
and those are they're not gonna last. They can try it, and it's like, I don't even like this Negro. He's just put a ring on it. And that is crazy to me. Especially, it only works if it's an arranged, like if you grew up in a system where you never experienced love, he's your first guy, and there, you look at it as a business contract, right? If you've experienced all of those things and you just marry this guy because he wanted to marry you.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was alluding to earlier. Like, oftentimes the reason why you jacked up day to day is your perspective. The same thing that you would consider negative to you that happens to you, right? Happens to somebody else. Your perspective is what changes, how you go about your day to day and how you take in the information that you receive. Somebody could have literally just punched you in the face, right? Multiple people just got punched in the face. They didn't respond the same way that you did. And because of their thought process and their perspective on how they respond to the exact same situation dictates how their day or their thought process or how their feelings are going to be for the rest of the day.
I didn't understand that. Is it because it's late?
I'm
Never
not
mind.
sure.
Don't,
Maybe,
don't,
maybe I didn't explain it properly.
as long as somebody got it, that's all that matters.
I'm gonna try to answer Marcus's question. All right, so I guess everyone's different. So I'm gonna speak from my perspective, my experience. I think it's hard to narrow down to three, but I'm gonna give you three. I would say effective communication, and I'm being specific about effective communication because I realized earlier on in our relationship we were communicating, but it wasn't necessarily effective. Um, so I would say effective communication, understanding and I'm putting sex and intimacy kind of, I know they're different, but since I can only give 3, I would say that those kind of go hand in hand a little bit. And the reason I identify those 3 is because I recognize that when any one of those things are out of whack, we're not in a good space.
Mm-hmm.
So if sex and intimacy isn't happening, we're not in a good space. If there's a lack of understanding about any kind of issue or something that may be going on, a lot of times we're not in a good space. And the communication piece, well, effective communication, which I think the effective communication and understanding also go hand in hand. Because if that's off, we're typically just not in a good space. So that's where I would say those are our 3.
Okay. Sounds good. Go ahead, Enos.
That was great. I think my 3 are to be malleable, so be open to change and learning things. The physicality, that means keeping yourself together and keeping your knees apart for your spouse. And then being involved in your own process of growth as well. It can't just be his responsibility. You owe it to him to continue to grow, and you owe it to your children to continue to grow as well. So I think with those 3, most women should be set.
I like it, Enos. I love it.
What about you, Miss Monet?
I need growth. So I'll take Enos's answer on that one. I'll take effective communication with
What you want, what you gonna do. This ain't what you trying. You putting together a list of what you want from me. We talk about what you bring to the table.
I'm willing to keep growing.
Okay.
Be what he needs. Keep growing. I like those 2.
Okay.
I like mistaken effective communication. I'm a communicator. I'm very transparent, a little bit too transparent. That's probably what the problem is.
Bang.
I like, keep your legs open. I like that. Compassion, be it compromising. I like that.
Okay.
I like, I can't just use 3. It's a lot of things on here that I think that were great. And those are the things that I do. And I still am not married. So I don't know what the problem is. Just trying to figure this shit out.
You don't think it's on the way? You don't think it's like right around the corner?
Not in Atlanta. I think that if I were to move, it would have happened a long time ago.
What city? Which city you be like, if I move there, it's on the popping. I know this is where the men is.
DC. DC is my cup of tea.
Okay.
Hey, you might as well come to Chicago, find you a real one.
Chicago.
Yeah, come find you a real one.
Man, it's cold as hell.
Real one. What they look like?
This one. This one. Really? Miss Hagen, you see all this cap coming off of her right now? She got a one of them cheese caps from Wisconsin right now. Don't know what a Chicago real one is. Knock it off.
Oh, okay. So it's different kind of real. We're talking about like y'all kind of real or like real, like
what's real?
You see the cap radiating off of her?
Real.
You see her?
We do this real, but we know there's a different types of real out here. I don't know.
What kind of real you talking about?
Yeah, what kind of real you talking about?
You just told me. You just told you what my job offer was. You was like, nah, yeah, you don't want to be there. That I don't want that kind of real. It's kind of real. Like I forgot you two, so I'm okay with y'all, right? This is so whatever this looks like in any city or state, I'm okay with. Does that make sense? So
no, because I feel like you just tried to test our gangster real quick. Because she was like, real? Or real y'all? I just don't want to talk to my cousins. What is he talking about?
In Chicago, and it's certain reals.
She's just trying to say she don't want that, because that real that's like she has to be about that life because she ain't about that life.
Oh,
that's the real that she's talking about.
Okay,
like,
okay,
you don't
I see.
want that kind.
back to you. So you just said me and Vince wasn't out that life. Let's drill into
No,
Vince.
but
You
I'm
heard that too, right?
Hey, this does
You
feel
said
real
real or
stereotypical
real
right
real?
now.
What type
okay,
of
so
real
let me
real?
just say
Real
this.
real is real real. We real fake or we real? Like what the?
Right.
Listen,
Hey, apparently I'm not real. I'm not real. I'm just
Yeah,
real.
she just killed me with that.
That-
Did
so
I
let
just
me
tell
just
you I went to funerals all this? Come on, man.
you're right, Marky Mark. You know how you like to be in the
No,
real.
no,
So
no,
listen.
no.
So let me clarify.
You
Okay.
won't get shot.
So
You won't get
maybe
That's what
again,
she's talking about.
again,
That's what she's talking
again.
about. She don't want to be in that.
I don't even want to hear it. You know.
Oh, okay, well, yeah. All right, well,
You're
you
like, I
So
was shot once. I'm good.
that
no more
45
like
changed my direction.
no more
Like an
shootings.
angle. Fuck you. She say, fuck
Yeah,
you.
it's a wrap for me.
45 changed my
I'm not trying to
directions.
put myself.
First
in
of all,
the
y'all gonna get off Andrew Gillen because that's my friend's husband. Leave. We're not gonna do that in the chat.
Hold on. Let me go see what Andrew Gillen. I don't know who that is. Let me see
You
who
don't
that
know who
is.
Andrew Gillen is? That's my friend's husband.
Andrew Gillen.
No, so I
So is he? Oh no, I see what you're saying.
we're not gonna bring it up.
Yeah. We ain't about to say nothing. That's what you want. Okay, I see you. I see you.
No.
That's what you want.
That's what the chat said. That's not. No. Hold up. Wait a minute.
I mean,
That's not what I want. Okay.
okay.
Now I will take an Obama. You know what I'm saying? Who wouldn't?
Pre-President Obama or post-President Obama? Because them two different men.
You say who?
Those two different men. When you were president, like,
that's what's
You
good.
would take- That's what we're
You would
talking
take
about.
both.
Boom. When he came on the scene, I was like, "Who is this man? And where has he been? Does he have a younger brother or something?"
you gotta go to the jungle fever country. So
Speaking of junk, so I'm glad you know what, Marky Mark. I think it's like a telepathy. You just took the words out of my mouth. Now we're talking about interracial relationships, right? And the reason why we're going to bring this up is because men love to say what black women are doing.
But all right.
But men like to say what women are not doing, right? Because we're not raised to be wives, as if another culture of women they're raised to be wives. What does that look like? What do you guys think that mean by that?
All right, me specifically.
Sure.
You know, my ideology is that every woman can be molded into whatever you need her to be if you're the right man for her. So I think anybody can become anything. But I think when they speak to that concept, they talking about people who come for lack of a better word, preconditioned or pre-trained with, hey, I'm gonna cook clean, be submissive. You don't have to be a specific type of man to get unlock this skill set. It's just a base level for every man. The problem with that is in this day and era, unfortunately, fellas, some men don't deserve or ain't really qualifying to get that type of treatment, and then she don't want to be stuck giving the person she don't think deserve that type of treatment just because she dating them. And we have such a transitional or transactional dating market that a lot of the women can't even really go in with their full lead, and a lot of men can't go in with their full lead about whatever they move would be, whether that be, hey, I'm coming in, I'm gonna provide, protect, pay for everything, be this person to you, because people gonna use you.
Right.
They will use you.
Like what Jay say, take your time when you liking a guy, because if you feeling that your feelings too intense, then it's pimp or die. It's the same thing in both directions. You feel me? Like, men might take advantage of it, women might take advantage of it. So you got to kind of find a way to walk down that path at the right moment in the right time so y'all can coincide in a way where no other person is trying to use the other person, but y'all both using yourselves to give. So it's like a reciprocal yin and yang type of thing. Right. But it requires some type of je ne sais quoi or some type of discernment in order to get into that environment. Because a lot of the people who may have went in with the most positive intentions felt like they got used, and we unfortunately see them upset in the chat a lot of times. Not in this specific chat, but in chats throughout the sector or the sphere.
Now I'll say this to piggyback off of you, and I agree with what you're saying, but at the same time, I think that again, the use of wordage is very important, right? In relationships, we do use each other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you either useful or you useless. I agree.
You either useful or you either useless. So if you're not able to add something to my life, you know what I'm saying? You're useless. If I can't use you, you know what I'm saying, to complete whatever it is that I need to be completed uh in life, because that's the point of you being with a person. And what are we here for? You know what I'm saying? It's We are all here to be used. You know what I'm saying? Be it if you're in a relationship, be it if you're at your job, in your family, we all play a certain role in which we have to feed and pour into other people, and the expectation is for it to be returned in some type of way. You know what I'm saying? So
I,
I agree with people not wanting to be used, but that's what we're here for.
so I think maybe you might have thought I meant usurious, like you were being used in a usurious manner. So I was negating that off the table,
Yeah.
like when somebody's taking advantage of you. But
Somebody, right.
that's why I
That's
use the
different.
reciprocal nature of finding the perfect balance of when you're useful to somebody that's useful to you, and then you all
I understood
form
what
a
you were saying, Marky Mark, and you're
kinsman.
right. So, because to me, if you are in a relationship and you've been there for 5 years, and this man is not going to marry you, and you know you want marriage, he's just using you at this point,
He's
and
just using that.
he's using
Yeah.
you. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, this is the reality to a lot of people. People staying things way too long, getting used. And especially women in the prime of their life, in a relationship with a person, and he's just using you
Hey,
way too long.
that's part of life though. The
Is
the
it
the harsh
really though?
the harsh reality is that that's part of life. The harsh reality is that we experience moments in life and where we can make a decision of either going left or right, right? And depending on what it is that your decision is from that point, from that moment, then that's you have to deal with the reactions from that. So every action has a reaction. You know what I'm saying? So if you're aware that this person that y'all been together for X amount of time and is not moving at the pace that you wanted to, then it's solely up to you to either voice that, hey, this is what I want, and if I can't get it, then I got to move around. And regardless of how hard it may be, how much it may hurt, whatever, um, you have to live with that fact that I made the choice to stick around, you know what I'm saying, knowing that it was something different. And that's a part of life.
Well, here's my perspective or opinion. I think, and specifically in the woman's case, they don't understand. They're used to not having to take any risk. What I mean by
How?
that is,
What do you
I said, hold
mean?
on. I said, hold on. So this is what I mean by this. When you give something to somebody, most of the time, a lot of women only are giving to receive something. I'm giving this because this is supposed to be going someplace, right? So really, in essence, what you're giving to this person, you're actually giving to yourself. You're not giving this thing freely. What you're giving comes with a price. You only want to do this
Should it
thing,
not
give
though?
these
Should it
things.
not?
I'm not arguing that. What I'm
Oh,
saying is when you give stuff expecting to get something, you understand that, yo, this is the reason why you feel like you're getting robbed, because the intentions in which you gave what you gave is all the wrong pretense. Like, brothers are perfectly fine with giving all the husband duties for a lot of women without them having to offer a lot of the things that men want from women. But y'all be like, well, if I'm not going to get this in result, then it doesn't benefit me to do it. Versus on the other side, men will give what they're supposed to give. For a lot of brothers that actually get married, they give what they're supposed to give from the beginning and after. Versus you, on the other hand, are like, well, no, I'm not going to give my stuff up until you give me this. Right now,
so this sounds like a person who you just don't want to be with, right? Um,
no, it don't sound like a person.
That's
This
what it
this is
is.
just
Because a woman who
observation of
wants
the
to be
case.
with you is going to show you she wants to be with you, pinpoint blank. I think
No,
Marcus
no,
brought
no,
that
no.
up.
No,
So
no,
let me
no.
just say, let me finish saying this
Yeah,
right
yeah.
here. Let me just say this right here, and this goes for men and it goes for women. Nobody deserves your time. Nobody. Your husband is. So what we've started to do is we started to give our husband and wife benefits to people who are not those, don't have those places in our lives, right? And that's where the confusion comes in. No, he does not deserve wifely duties, and no, she does not deserve you to be treating her like she's your wife, right? Nobody, especially when those titles, when that commitment is not there. Nobody. Because if you sit here and get every man that come into your life, you giving him wifely duties, you gonna be ran down. And the same with you doing it for her. Like, what
Mhm.
are y'all doing? That's not what dating is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about us just getting to know each other, see if we're a great fit and moving forward, dating with intent. The problem is now we sitting here out here pretty much just prostitution. Just it don't. It's just another way of saying it. Just ain't prostitute. We don't call it that.
Well,
It's
no,
just
they're dating with intent. Just the intent has changed.
right.
The
The
intent mistake.
intent changed, huh?
It was
The
so funny.
intent.
It was so funny because this guy, I think it was on Facebook, the Facebook group brought up that part saying that, hey, why women are it was a conversation I had, and they were like, well, are there men? So the question was, why wouldn't you just go to a woman and say, hey, I just want a booty call, right? Let's be on the same page. Can we just have a booty call?
You know how
Or
hard that is for most men to say?
listen to what I'm saying. But if that's what you want, that's what you need to say. And then he
Should they
said, well,
say it?
the woman will get upset, and because you keep asking women who are not booty calls to be your booty call. Go get a prostitute. Go get a woman who's about that life. They are everywhere.
So
You throw a couple dollars. You go to, pay her little bills, and y'all got a whole little thing y'all got going. No, but no, what you trying to do is you trying to disrupt a woman who's not about that, and you just trying to play her like you about, you have intent for her, and that's not right. And the
I
same
think
with
we should role play.
vice versa.
I think we should role play.
It's
Hey.
role plays.
So you can
Well,
see how difficult this is.
You
Huh?
love role playing.
hey,
What?
so
Marcus,
let,
what? No, I want to
let,
know.
let me say this. Let me say this
Marcus,
real
let's
quick.
role play. Right when he gets done, we're gonna role play, okay?
So to Monet in that case, and Dr. Hyde, you funny as hell for
Call
saying
myself
that.
Monet.
Yeah,
Um,
Dr. High 850 with the fire with the film ball. How do you find a wife on Tinder?
hey, that's wild. But I'm gonna say this though. Um, from that perspective, and I personally think that uh, although most women want that transparency, but when they receive it is too much. I think another part of it too is that um, society, right? Social media, women on social media have created this new norm of where they're presenting themselves as if they are prostitutes. You know what I'm saying? If 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 I immediately open up Instagram and I'm seeing hella chicks in bikinis, they twerking, they got their ass out, you know what I'm saying? In the older times, the women that did that, they were prostitutes. You know what I'm saying? You were selling it.
They were fast.
You know what I'm saying? So for I think for men to do that, they feel comfortable enough to do it because that's how the women, and not all women, of course, but that's how a lot of women are portraying themselves. You know what I'm saying? They got OnlyFans, they paying motherfuckers to do FaceTimes, you know what I'm saying? Weird ass shit like that. And this nigga's paying for it. And those same type of men are the men that's saying, hey, I just want to crack. You know what I'm saying? I got $100 or $40 or you know what I'm saying, whatever the going rate is. But that's the norm that society has created.
So what I'm saying to you, so if a woman has an OnlyFans and you hit her up in her OnlyFans DM, At that point, she knows it's transactional, right? You have hit her up in her place of business. Okay.
Yeah.
The problem is when you're going out with a woman who does not have an OnlyFans, because not every woman has an OnlyFans. She's not even twerking in her videos, and you're doing that same thing, but instead of just saying what you want, you're playing it like you want something else. Now, this is another thing. There's all about delivery. Before you even go on a date, have a conversation with people. Say, look, I'm gonna let you know where I am in life. Instead of saying I just want to bust it down, say something like, you know what?
Right.
I'm gonna be
Probably
honest
role
with
playing.
you. At this point in my life, I just want somebody who I can have sex with on a regular, not necessarily have to sleep over, not necessarily have to talk to you every day. That's where I am in my life.
Yeah.
That's honesty. That's not disrespectful. That's putting it on you. This is where you are. It's not saying I see you that way. It's just saying that's what I want. Now, are you down? Are you not down for that? Because I'm just telling you, this is what I want.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And that's how it's supposed to be.
They gonna
But
say
how
it
to
just
get
like that.
It is just like that. Please write it down. That's a script for you right there.
Hey, I
Don't
100%
do
agree
that.
with you. I just
Why
I
not,
think
Mark?
that the game is just different now. And the guys that are doing that, those are the guys that don't understand that concept. They don't have a lick of game. You know what I'm saying? They got no G. So all that they can do is slide in females DMs, and you know what I'm saying, it's a numbers game. You know what I'm saying? If you on Instagram with 5,000, you know what I'm saying, friends, and 3,500 of them is females, it's a numbers game. Somebody gonna go, you know what I'm saying? But of course, those type of men aren't the type of men that women that kept women actually want. You know what I'm saying? So it's, and then the ones that do get it, that's not in that group, you know what I'm saying, that it's just, you just kind of a casualty of war type of deal. You know what I'm saying? You just kind of caught in the middle of where a nigga is gonna be a nigga. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna do some ignorant shit. They're gonna, you know what I'm saying, slide in the DM, be, you know what I'm saying, texting you back to back with no replies, and you know,
Shoot a
oh
dick
fuck
pic.
you, there, ugly ass bitch, you know what I'm saying, because you ain't get a reply. You know what I'm saying? We see it all the time, but those are the men that women don't want though.
So, Marky Mark, role play. Go ahead, because you over there dying to get it out.
No, I was drinking my healthy herbal drink.
With
That's
your
what I
finger
was over
drink.
here doing.
Go,
Yeah,
go
you
ahead,
know,
Marcus. Role
stirring
play.
my bio.
What's the scenario?
Oh no, you don't seem like you with it no more. So I don't even know how to do
I ain't with it, 'cause I want you to role play. Go
No,
ahead.
no.
So what
The
are you
only
trying
thing
to teach us through the role play?
no, the only thing I was trying to say was HD. You know what I was trying to say, right?
HD's confused. Go ahead. It's
No,
as
HD was shaking his head like that ain't gonna work neither. If you
Well,
Go
just
ahead.
walk up to
hey,
somebody and be like, "Hey, how you
like,
doing?
no,
I just want to
like
have sex."
understanding it's not the fact that guys aren't being honest, because sometimes, like y'all
No,
all
they not.
know, you can be honest and she gonna lie to herself, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
what is
Fact,
that?
facts.
No.
That's
That's not
facts.
true. That's not.
That
That's
is
like
You say you
true.
want to see
That
what
is
it look
very
like, right?
true.
All
That's
right.
definitely
Listen,
How
true.
you
This is
doing,
what y'all
Shan?
missing out. Give me a
How you
second.
doing, Shan?
Give me a second, Marcus.
Okay.
It's timing of it all, right?
Mm,
Y'all trying to
you can
throw that
tell her in
in
the
there. You
beginning and she
already know
still
you
lie to
got.
herself.
I'm gonna throw it in there after I done wined and dined her. She done got attached to me because we done spent a whole bunch of time together. Let me just throw it. I'm not really looking for a relationship. No. I'm talking about on the first day you meet this chick, right? And you know where your head is, or before y'all go on a date, you need to let her know your intention on dating. You know, on that app where it says something casual, something, be honest about what you want. Don't be like, I'm looking for a long-term relationship. Don't
yeah.
be go in there saying
Yes,
I want something
a
casual.
long-term casual relationship.
No,
Something as cut and dry as the app. Yeah. I'm talking about. So you got to think. I'm speaking about people interpersonal skills when they communicate with one another. And the way you just said that, there will be literally somebody who will walk up to a woman and be like, "Hey, you into sex?"
no, It's
I
a
just
way.
want to have sex right quick, and I don't want no long term. And that
That's
shit won't
not.
work. That's all
I'm not.
I'm saying.
No,
There's
no,
some
no, no.
finesse to
So
that. You can
listen,
say
you
the gist of that. Okay, okay.
no. So this is so when you're sitting here saying that's not going to work, you're already saying I'm trying to manipulate the situation. No, you should not have to look. You shouldn't. People are not to be manipulated. Just go and say what you. If she's on top of it, she's on top of it. Okay. So stop trying to manipulate the situation. What's going to work and what's not going to work. If that's what she wants, it'll work. If that
Have you?
ain't what she wants, it's not going to work.
No, no. It's a way you speak to people where you're not manipulating
Go
them,
ahead,
but
Marcus.
you delivering a message.
Go ahead, Marcus. Let me hear it.
I'm talking to Enos. Hey,
Enos, get Enos to say yes to your little booty call. Go ahead.
but she won't say it. But you know what I'm saying, Shan. Damn, you
No,
go.
I don't. I want to hear it. I want to hear what it
Oh my
sounds
God.
like. Go ahead.
It really
I wanna
depends
hear
on a lot. It depends on a lot of factors. It depends on a whole lot of factors.
it. You
All
have
right,
the fruit, Marcus.
I got the floor. Okay.
Mhm.
You know, do you want to engage in this, or should I talk to Shan about this?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Yes.
So where are we at the bar? Where we at the bar? We at the bar? Okay.
Sure.
All right. Bartender, can I get a? God damn. How you doing, sweetheart?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm chilling. I was just about to get a gin and tonic, but shit, you drinking something?
Actually, I'm drinking the same.
You gotta be kidding me. That's an old folks drink. That's that shit put you to bed. That's what I drink. You with this old folks shit? That's really how you moving?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I see
Hey,
you
that
got
was
taste for the
that was a
classics.
big ass goal.
Yeah, yeah, you got taste for the classic. You gotta sip the gin and tonic. You can't just drink it. I just drunk that. That's for the healthy drinks. For the gin and tonic, you gotta, just sip on it.
That's it. Just enjoy it.
Just enjoy it. I see you over here glowing, looking like a whole orange. You feel me? Like you just super, super, super. So I got a thing about me is that I like that orange complexion to do something to me, like dark skin women do something to me. I don't know if anybody ever told you that, but you got a natural glow about you that's just extremely sexy. It's doing something to me, invigorating. You feel?
I appreciate that. I got back from vacation a few weeks ago, but I appreciate the
Oh,
compliment.
where you went to vacation
And
at?
I had vitamin C deficiency.
Vitamin C. Where you was on vacation at?
I was in Mexico.
I look like it. Viva la
Mhm.
Mexico. Whatever you came from, I want to
Okay,
see
Marcus,
more of
how
that.
long is the game gonna take?
You think you could just walk up to somebody and say, "Hey, you want to fuck," and then move forward? No, you gonna have to. You go see. That was
I
my
need that
point. We
conversation to
don't
be
even
This
got
just
to
is
go
as
no
quick.
exactly
further.
what we're
That
I
was
need
my
talking
that
about.
point.
conversation to be just as
Like
fast as that
this is
quick.
exactly what we're talking about, Shan.
In and out.
That when
HD,
you
am I wrong or
understand
am
when
I
you're
right?
approaching women, like even if you want to try to tell them what you really want to tell them, you have to figure out who you are that you're dealing with. Because you
Right.
might have been like, hey, you know, I want something casual. But just from casual conversation with this woman, you can feel like, this is not something that I want to do. Like you're gonna sit here and give her all this information, and you don't even know who she is yet. You don't even know
That's
what kind of mindset she got, how she think, how she move. And you mean to tell me,
true.
hey,
Y'all got
before
standards to
hi,
who
my
you
name
get.
is Harrison. All I want to do is smash. What's up?
That shit
That's
would
what you
never
want me to
work
do?
unless you
So,
in the
so,
league.
so y'all want to smash people who high class people.
Hey,
Listen, it's
but
not about listen. It don't matter
yeah,
if you high class. If you ain't learned nothing from real life and the internet, brothers ain't don't got that same thought process that you think that they do. These brothers have range. They're very like veritable in the far as how they deal with women. It's women that's like, nah, I only want this, and this. I need to feel this way. This need to happen. This need to be said this way in order for me to do XYZ. Versus when you ask guys, literally every woman, we see you. We might not engage you, but we see
mhm,
you. And we be like, I like that, but I'm not going to, or I like that, I'm going to approach that.
yeah,
Or as much as I like all of this, I got something that's better and I'm gonna focus on what I got. So it's
yeah,
like, yo, like even when brothers are committed, they still see other women versus a number of women, they become extremely like one-sided with the brother that has their heart. And it's cool. And like, listen, like what's his name? Marcus, I was listening to you yesterday. You and Trev towards the end. Listen, bro, we gotta have a conversation. We ain't gotta do it now, but I need to have a longer dialogue with you after the conversation that you had at the end of the show. But
I don't mind. But can y'all type a little bit in the back chat? Just
now
So
you
you-
over here being nosy, go to your husband.
we okay, we
Yeah.
can get into it if you want to, because me and Trev talked about this for a long time yesterday. Let me just wrap this up with, I'm gonna show you how this shit won't work and how it possibly could work. Okay, so I'm gonna do the share method. So yeah, you beautiful. So if you got any plans, but shit, I'm trying to fuck. So is you with that, or is you not with that?
No, thank
Yeah,
you.
Sharon. That's literally what you said to say. That shit ain't gonna work. Versus, shit, I don't know. Let's go have a couple drinks. And
That's not what I had said to say. That's not what I
okay,
had.
let me rewind it. What'd you say? Oh, I'm trying to
said,
snag. Is you
no,
with
no, no.
that?
That's not what I said at all.
Okay,
I
tell
said
me.
where
Let me
I'm
recite
gonna
it.
be honest with you. Where I
I'm gonna
am
be
in my
honest
life,
with you.
I'm only looking for something casual.
Okay, all right. I got you. I got you. I got you.
Put it on you. Don't. It has nothing to
Yeah, yeah. I
on
got
you.
you. All right, here you go.
Do it again. Rewind.
All right. I'm gonna be honest with you right now. See, I'm gonna put too much extra smooth shit on it. Let me find another way, because somebody else do it for me, because I think I'm gonna say it and it might work. So can somebody else say it? Because all right, fuck it, I'll do it. So man, I met you at the opportune wrong time. You know what that means? Like, it's perfect, but it's not perfect at the same time. Because I'm really not in a position where I'm trying to be in a relationship right now. But I really want to have I'm just playing. I just want to get to know you a little bit better on a physical level if you was with that. I don't know if that's something you into, but if it is, shit, we could probably have a couple more drinks back at my house. I got some new gin with the junipers. You know how them berries and shit be popping? Might make them do something that you might like. You feel me? Under that act. Yeah, I see you smiling. I'm gonna take that as an affirmation. I'm gonna need some positive affirmation moving forward.
So Marcus, that's a nice way to put it, but I have a feeling she's still gonna say no. But
Okay, well, she say no.
that was an
Well,
honest
Inai's gonna say no. We don't know what the woman that he talking to like that is gonna say no.
right. So the woman who's
Well-
gonna who is about that life is going to say, and it was a respectable, you came at her in a respectful way.
Yeah.
She knows what it is at this point. You didn't sugarcoat anything. No,
It's gonna require some sugarcoating, no, a little bit of sugarcoating. It's gonna require some. That was my whole point. You got to sugarcoat something.
Right. Now I'll say this. Well, go ahead. My bad, Inez. I seen your church finger come up.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. I'll go after you.
Well, no. So I was gonna say, just being 100. You know what I'm saying? If a woman sees a guy and she want to crack him, she gonna go, as long as he says the right thing to her in that moment. You know what I'm saying? I've back in the day, I had a chick come up to me at a wedding and just flat out, man, what you doing after this? You know what I'm saying? Like, straight to the point type of deal. And shit, I couldn't do nothing but respect that. You know what I'm saying? And I made the decision I made. But even in that case, just simply just hitting her with the, man, I think you're really attractive, and I would love to, get to know you a little bit better. It's a little loud in here, but I got something back at my place, or man, let's go to this bar, or woo woo type of deal. And from there, if she feeling you, hell yeah, let's get up out of here. You know what I'm saying? If she under the same act, hell yeah, let's go. You know what I'm saying? And that just depends on the woman and how well it is that man can, you know what I'm saying, use the proper wording.
So I agree with that. I think where I disagree with Shan a little bit, at least in my experience, most men tend to be pretty upfront about that stuff, about whether they're looking for a long-term relationship or not. What happens is later into the engagements, they start to behave like boyfriends or husbands, right? Like, that's really where I see the issue in a lot of. Sorry?
go ahead. No, the confusion. I was just trying to see what you're saying. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
that confusion. So, like, this is supposed to be casual, it's supposed to be light, and yet, we're going on Valentine's Day dates when Valentine's Day is supposed to be the day all about relationships, right? Or, you have me around your friends and family when this isn't really supposed to be that serious. And so I think that's where the bulk of confusion comes from, is that you're saying one thing and your actions are not aligning, and I'm now catching feelings, so I don't know which side to believe, right? I think that most men do say, hey, listen, I'm not really looking for anything serious right now. What we're doing right now, this is all I really want. A lot of men who are looking for that are very vocal about that. Sure, you have some guys who are super manipulative, who will play the boyfriend card to get what they want. I think those are more exceptions. I think more often it's just the guys who behave like boyfriends after saying they didn't want a relationship.
You know what? I can agree with it. So you're absolutely right. I can see that as well. So again, so that goes back to what I'm saying. If you, because one of the things I said was, if you say, oh, I just want to have sex, you have sex and you leave. You don't spend a night. You don't do all the relationship things. You just ease on out of there. There's no confusion, right? She knows you're not spending the night. It's like in your face, like we just having sex. But like Inaz said, what usually happens is you start to do relationship type things. You're holding her after you have sex. Y'all kissing on each other. Y'all are, talking to each other daily. It becomes confusing because she's like, so that's a good one. What do you guys have to say about that?
Well,
I would
I
say,
agree.
I was gonna
Uh,
say, I think men
oh,
and women both get caught up in that too. I think what Inan said, I agree with that. But I also think after a while, sometimes women also feel that they can change the situation as well. So they go in it with the understanding of saying, "Oh, he said he wanted to be casual." But you're in it long enough, you start catching feelings, and because you caught feelings, you think he should be catching feelings too, and want the dynamic of that established relationship to change. And so you begin to read into things that really aren't there, like his thoughts, actions, and words are still aligning with what he said he wanted from the beginning, but he might do something, and now in your mind you're like, see, that's what boyfriends are do. See, he want more than that. Like, we'll convince ourselves that the person wants more than what they initially said that they did. So I think there's ownership on both ends of that. Men not really making sure that the lines are, there's no gray area. They're not keeping it black and white.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, in our mind, we're also thinking that, oh, he's a cool dude. I could see being in something a little more serious with him. And then we start falling into that aspect of picturing ourselves with them, or saying that, you know what, he is boyfriend material. You know what, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna get him. So I think that's why I don't think as women we need to play those games. There's a few women that
How
can
should we play
probably,
those games, Tara?
huh?
How should we play those games? Do tell.
I would say you shouldn't, because yeah, you shouldn't play those games, because at some point, unless it's somebody in which, why would you want to engage in something that you totally are not attracted to, so then you don't catch feelings. But what fun is that? Like, why would you even want to, right?
Yeah.
So I think for women, I think it's important that um if you think you can engage in the type of relationship like that, when you feel like you're starting to catch feelings, you better be that type of chick that know how to cut stuff off and just bounce. Just be like, all right, I'm done. So that way you won't end up being disappointed or what have you. You know what I'm saying? Because at that point you have to take control of your own feelings. He it's not his responsibility, at that point, because you agreed to it. So once things starts changing for you, then you need to bounce.
Now
Yeah.
let's just keep it a buck. When in situations like that, if I see you at the club, you know what I'm saying, you with it, you with the shits, you come back home, and we engage in the do. I think another big level of that adds to that is, you know, and people do it, but if y'all go into it and you raw dogging, you know what I'm saying, you raw dogging, you kissing in the mouth, you know what I'm saying, like that right off the bat.
And we just met in a club.
You'll be
What
surprised.
y'all doing? Y'all,
You'll
Well,
oh,
not
be
even
you'll
out the
be
back, but
surprised.
let's just say, let's give them grace and say, okay, it's been a couple of weeks in, right? And y'all are consistently doing it, and then now
weeks?
it's brought up.
Couple weeks?
Weeks can be, but there are weeks in the year, any one of those weeks, okay? So you're into it, right? And so now he's starting to do it. Now, keep on with your story. Go with your story.
Right. So with that, of course, feelings are going to grow. You know what I'm saying? Uh, that's the inevitable. And I'm sure as much as we would want to deny it, we've all got to that point at some point where we was with somebody that we may not have been fully with, but we were engaging with them. You know what I'm saying? In the raw. I mean, that's it happens. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's a factor of it as well, because now we're doing this thing that people do in relationships. So now the lines are blurred. You know what I'm saying?
Mm. I have a question for guys. With that, do guys ever fall in a situation where they say that that's what they want, and then they end up catching feelings, or that?
It can happen.
Hell
It
Um,
yeah,
definitely can happen.
yeah.
I think so. You want to you go? You got a Viz. You got a Viz.
Now, HD has something to say. Let him go ahead.
Listen, I got a lot to say because just going off what you're saying, mistaken, you have to understand that like most men and most women think that the opposite sex is them, and they're not. So when a woman approaches a relationship with a man, she thinking that what he doing, that everything is similar. Like, oh, he moving like this, he moving like this. Listen, the reality is even if his words and actions line up, he could still be lying to you. I don't think women understand the strength that a man has to compartmentalize. And if he says that it's not that serious, but he may be showing to you it's serious, listen, the reality is it might not be that serious. But this is what I was talking about earlier, that brothers have the habit of just being themselves no matter what it is that they say. Like, listen, he might not really be taking you serious, but he'll still pay for you, he'll still protect you, he'll still make sure that you're straight, he'll still do everything you feel like a man should do for a woman he's serious about. The thing is that men, like we said, we're creatures of habit. We're not separating how we are just because of you. Now, granted, can you catch a brother slipping? And he is now like, hey, listen, what I originally wanted to do with you ain't what I want to do no more, as far as like the this casual thing. Listen, a brother that really care about you, he gonna have some sort of conversation, right? But the reality is you will not know the truth until time goes on. Because, like, even if his actions, because many brothers will tell you, yeah, I want a long-term relationship, and they'll do all the things that you are asking for, and he'll show all the signs of this, that, and the third. Month number 9, he's just like, well, that was fun. On to the next. And it just be what it be. And what I want women to understand is whatever you give, right? Give it freely, because you're going to keep feeling like you're robbed. And the only issue that women are like running into is that they're giving the wrong stuff to the wrong people. Because if you give that thing to the right person, it's
Mhm.
going to work. right?
You just got finished saying there's no way for them to tell until
Yeah, there's no way for
it's
them to
not
tell.
like
Just like
this.
when you pay full price for this woman, and she says she love you and she care about you, and then she dogging you in the streets to her girlfriends, like you just don't know. But
Yeah,
that's what I'm
that's
trying to
on
get
both
women to
sides.
understand is there are no way you can eliminate risk. You can only mitigate it. So
Hmm.
change the perspective on what it is that you're giving. If you spent 2 months of feeding this dude, and all he do is take your food and leave, stop feeding him. You know what I'm saying? Understand that, listen, y'all are supposed to be some of the smartest people in the world. Act like it. Understand that what you're dealing with when you want something from anybody, whether it's a man, a woman, or whatever, you understand that when you enter into a relationship with somebody, there's risk involved. And if you're giving your time, you're giving your energy, you're giving your love, your care, everything. If you're giving yourself to a person, there's a risk involved. This could go well, this could go bad, but you freely gave this thing to that person. And then you're going to be like, they robbed me. No, they didn't. You gave it to them. Like you literally freely gave it to him. Well, listen, take some responsibility and some ownership that you're supposed to be grown. And if you grown, that means everything you do and everything you say, be responsible for. When you go and you sign a contract for your cell phone, do you read all the things that's in that contract? Hell no. You're like, it's too much stuff to read. But guess what? You're still responsible for everything in that contract. Listen, I want women to understand. Listen, I want women to understand that, listen, nobody rides for free. You know what I'm saying? There's no way you can eliminate everything as far as the obstacles to you getting to what you want. We're both in the same boat. Men, we can't eliminate the risk of putting our
Hmm.
life on the line or having to pay or having to do certain things for y'all to feel secure and feel like y'all have what y'all need. We can't eliminate that. So even if we don't want them to be serious, we will still operate the same, the same every time. Now, this is one thing that I do want to challenge about a lot of brothers. A lot of brothers do not have the disdain for women that women think that they do. There's not a lot of brothers that's willing to literally just be like, oh, have sex with you and just kick you out. Most men ain't built like that.
Do
They
you need
still
disdain
feel
to do
like they
that?
got to give you something, even though we don't. So hold on, what you say?
You need disdain to do that?
I think you do. I think you need some level of like, yo, I don't care nothing about you beyond this. I got what I wanted from you, and then I go on about my business. There's got to be some level, in my opinion, some disdain. But most brothers ain't trained to be that way. They're trained that when they receive something from you, I need to give you something. Even though I don't really want to, but the reality is you gave me something to eat. You said something nice to me. We had sex or something like that. There's something that we're taught comes with that. And the brothers that literally just be like, wham bam, thank you, ma'am. There's got to be some level of disdain. Now, granted, I could be wrong. I'm open to it being wrong because there's brothers that literally have dealt with enough girls to the where they don't think about women as some sort of prize or anything like that. You're just a regular person, right? You're
Oh
just
yeah.
a you're just another woman, right? So there's nothing special about you beyond you just being a woman. So I get that, but to me, like majority of brothers that have been raised by people that thinks that we have to give ourselves regardless of what we receive. Like, yo, I'm telling you, like, I don't know too many brothers that can literally sleep with a woman and think she don't deserve not a hug, not a sandwich, not a drink, not nothing.
That's
Yeah.
different. By the
Yeah.
way, you just described that made me question. Okay, let's go into what your question was yesterday. I'm curious now because your ideology has me curious. Because
Oh,
like I think you could absolutely not have any disdain for women, and you can. So just another woman is one thing, but just being a woman is a great thing. So it's a weird way to phrase it. Because I would agree when you say that's another person, right? But I also think women are incredible in their own right. but it's no disdain in that. You get what I'm saying? Because for years I was doing that, and I didn't dislike women. I love women, but I knew I wasn't in a position where I could sustain a long-term relationship. So it was, I'm in this city, I'm in this place, we in the dorm, we in the cafeteria, eyes lock, I'm attracted, you go for what I'm talking about, and then we talk about it in more physical sense. It wasn't no disdain there. It was just, it is what it is. It's not the position for it to just be me and you. It's just, it is what it is what it is. It's gonna do what it do.
I think that no, I 100% get it. Um, I think that the challenging part with it all is the value that a person places in their body. I think at least for me. So if we gonna do the do, I have to have some type of attraction to you, as to where I want to hold you afterwards. Like I've never been one to just give myself away to somebody, and and I have absolutely no attachment or feelings towards them. I think that that's just kind of being reckless. Now I have done some reckless thing when I was younger, for sure, no question. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to get a nut off or whatnot, but um, understanding the value that understanding the value of having sex with a person, uh, and the power that holds. I think that is something that has been placed with such low value on it, um, that we really lose the insight of what it means. You know what I'm saying? So I couldn't picture myself not uh, taking a chick home, and I'm digging her. I take her home, we vibing, and we do the do, and me just kicking her out. You know what I'm saying? As a man, that feels kind of bogus. You know what I'm saying? It's 2, 3 in the morning, whatever, and I'm just sending you out on your way. That,
I think it's a difference between, because what y'all describing, what it sounds like you saying is you crack and then you push her out on the street, like, all right, go about your business.
right,
Like it's that sound
I'm,
okay. I can
I,
see where you're getting the
I'm
word
telling you,
disdain from. What I'm saying is, like, all right, so say you had sex and afterwards you be like, what you finna do? I'm about to bounce. And
right,
you can make sure she get home and she can get food if you have food at the house. It ain't like you just being abrasive and mean. I'm just
right.
saying you don't have to have no extra nothing attached to that. In my experience, and from the people I know, they, that wasn't really a thing. I
And
know.
that's
It's
and
just
I
sex.
think that's the difference between a booty call and a situationship, right?
Right,
So a booty call is like, look, this is just a booty call. It's a sneaky lick, whatever they call them. You sneak in there, you do what you got to do, and you get up out of there, right? It's a
right,
mutual understanding. Situationship is a little bit more complicated because it's kind of like it's a horrible situation, it's a crazy situation, but there is a relationship there. It's just not a commitment. It's like some complication. We used to call it it's complicated, right?
right, right,
Um, and so I think that those are the two difference. Nobody wants to take the ownership of being a booty call. Nobody wants to be like, okay, I ain't gonna treat it like a booty call, but I'll put her in this confused state of situationship because really she is just a booty call. But
I mean,
and
unless that's just voiced right off the bat. You know what I'm saying? If that's voiced right off the bat, then shit, it is what it is.
So I have a question because I know like the word, disdain. I don't necessarily think, along that line either. When men, do that, I don't think they necessarily have to have a level of disdain. But what came to mind in hearing, I think the compartmentalizing, and for me, it is synonymous in my mind as cognitive dissonance. I think there has to be a level of cognitive cognitive dissonance that men have to have, but y'all are saying compartmentalizing, meaning I can't see this woman as anything else other than the object, right now, because my only goal is I need to get it, get one off. So I can't see her or value her as a woman that I would really like or that I would see myself with. So you make her a different woman, you put a different name on it, you put a different, oh, she a hoe, so now I can treat her differently, but not necessarily looking at her as a full woman, sister, you know what I'm saying? Mom, brother. Like there has to be a level in which you don't put her on the same level as a woman in order to do that when you know the behavior that you're doing is not necessarily nice. Or you.
So all right. So I think that would women like sex too. It's not a large majority of women that involved in casual sexual relationships. I guess they would say today it is, but the women who engage in casual sexual relationships get something out of that too. She enjoys,
Right.
or she has something in her that craves. Maybe it's not enjoyment, but something in her that craves interacting in that way. And
Just
I
being
don't,
promiscuous.
yeah, and I don't think in that situation you're like denigrating her in a way that she don't want to be denigrated. Like I know denigrating may sound bad, but because
I
I
mean,
was going
that's
into
yeah,
what
that's
she
what it
may
is,
enjoy
though.
doing within that relationship. So um I get kind of what you're saying, but I just don't view it that way. But I would venture to say it has a lot to do with like relationship past and sexual experiences. Because I engage in different types of sexual experiences, I just don't view it that way. But if like say I had only been with like a handful of two hands, a smaller amount of women, I may view sex a little differently than that. So I could get what y'all saying, I just don't agree. You get what I'm
Well, it
saying?
has to be
So
some level because the woman that's your wife now, there
Uh-huh.
was something in her that I'm quite sure y'all was having sex before y'all got married. So
Hmm.
there was something that you saw that humanized her in your mind to a level that this is somebody that I would want in my life long term. You didn't see her as a bust down, even though you were having sex with her before y'all got married.
So all women are human. Like I don't think it was. I think
Yeah,
it's
You
like
I agree.
separated
I
her
don't.
in your
I don't
mind, you
think brothers.
separated her differently than you did other women that were just bust downs.
I think it.
I
So
mean, that's
it'll
human.
go
I
like
think
this. If
that's
I was to
natural
say,
instinct.
so
I get what you're saying,
That's
mistaken.
that's that's human. That's human instinct, though. I think.
so look, here we go. Attraction. I can have sex with you. Then you got a personality that I could be around. So you'll move from just I got sex with you to you have a personality I could be around. Then you have character traits that I think can sustain a long-term relationship. Then you could invert that pyramid because it would get smaller actually. So
Right.
attraction,
Right.
sleep with. Okay, now you got a personality that's dope. Now you have character traits within that personality that filter you into the funnel. And then from there, it's a matter of time and placement in life.
Yeah.
So question. So this is the confusing part, right? Because mistaken made a good point. I want to leave your wife out of this. Like that's not what we're trying to do right now. But just hypothetically speaking, if there was a clone, um, so that clone and his wife could have been just a. So what distinguish a person from being a bust down and just using that word? Is it just because you end up wifing her? Because she's
Time,
still in the same category as the other chicks that you were, you know what I'm
time,
saying?
time and investment. I would say for me, it's
So
time and
what I
investment.
so what I'm saying to you is that name, the category that for example, when we say a woman, oh, like one of the things that ADP said in the chat, he was like, oh, she's just a bust down. But what makes so if you got two women, they did the exact same thing. What makes one a bust down and one
So
not when they done the exact same thing?
so what
So
what makes
I
what
don't look
Grab
at
makes
your
sex that
card.
way. I don't look at sex that way. I said that before. I'm the guy who said if I slept with you on the first night, it's still possible for me to move forward. So maybe that's the distinction. I know there's some people who don't feel that way, but I don't look at sex the same way that some people may view it as more taboo. View it as a human experience. It's people have sex.
Right.
You
Now
said
I'll
on
say
the
this.
first date,
I
you said
think
if
that
you sleep with them on the first date that you couldn't be in a relationship with them, or
I
you
never
said
said
you
that.
could?
I
No,
could.
I was
It's
asking.
possible. Yeah, it's
Oh,
possible. Yeah.
mhm.
so
So I don't view sex that way.
the difference, and I agree with Marcus. Uh, the difference between a bust down and a woman that is promiscuous but presents it in a different manner is the presentation. If she's just blatantly open with it, you know what I'm saying, outside and bra and panties type of deal, then right off bat, all right, you wearing a uniform, you a bust down. You know what I'm saying? Compared to a chick that we in a bar, she's dressed nice, she carries herself like a lady, she's smelling good, and you know what I'm saying, and she with the shits, but she's also,
A
you know what I'm
bust
saying,
down.
she's also promiscuous, but she's more content with it. Then it's like, okay, it's different. You know what I'm saying? It's on a different level,
That's my
and
point.
that's
You're
from a man's
proving
perspective.
exactly what I was trying to say. You have to, there's a level of value that you place in order to determine how you're going to treat the person, right?
Which is
So
natural instinct. That's
right.
human
So
instinct.
that's my that's exactly what I was saying. There has to be a like when you guys are saying compartmentalize. I that's why I say I think in my mind the way I'm interpreting. I'm not saying this is just the way that I interpret it. That there's a level of cognitive dissonance because in order for like I can't look at this woman the same way as I would look as a wife. And I think the opposite is true too. I watched something not too long ago that was saying that a lot of times some men have trouble with the things that they like sexually, things that they enjoy doing when with their wife they don't want to because they see her as a wife, so they can't mentally
Madonna
take
whore
themselves, yeah,
complex. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
take
Oh yeah,
themselves there because they think of a wife on a different level, but they really have desires that they want to do some other stuff, and they step out to go do that with the other woman because she's not the wife. So when I'm saying the cognitive dissonance, I do believe that that is a true thing because it works either way. I can't treat my wife
Mhm.
this way, which that's the person you're supposed to
Supposed to
be.
treat that way. So
Right.
mistaken. You 100% right. Like I've
Yeah,
heard people talk about that a whole lot of times, that Madonna and whore complex. I've even heard of men, like a woman told me before that her man didn't let her. I think I brought this up before. Her man didn't let her give him head because he didn't want to see his wife doing that. He thought that was reserved for women that he separated into a whore category. I think the difference with me is because I don't view sex in that. So not to be offensive, but I kind of feel like that's immature. It's
Mhm.
kind of like sex is it's an adult thing and it can be explored. You figure out what you like and don't like. And I would have no issue engaging in whatever type of kink that I wanted to try and discuss with my, you know what I'm saying, with my wife or my woman or whatever, right? So I just don't see it that way. So I would agree with you that there are a large majority of people. I would even go as far as to say 60% of men, maybe 70, won't honestly tell the women that they with their actual sincere sexual desires for fear of repercussion or being like denigrated or being or any type of repercussion, right? Because
yeah,
I said this before, I always advocate for this. I think most men have a like polygamous spirit about them, but they'll get in a relationship and pretend like they don't even see women no more. Like, don't look at her ass, don't look at her chest, don't look on TV too long, don't notice a beautiful woman, and
But
men
the consequences.
manipulate to that. You say what? Yeah, the consequence of that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
And
I think within communities that like so the reason I say a kink, so like say you would mention like a BDSM or for like an Adam 22, somebody that engage in a different type of lifestyle. For a man, that may really truly be what he want to be, and he saying, I don't care about what nobody think. I'm gonna engage in that freely. So I like I'm not him, but I kind of understand where he coming from as far as this is what I want to do, so I'm gonna do it. I'm not doing what he doing. Don't put that. I see you smiling. AC. That's not what I'm saying. And sometimes I use somebody to make a point that people don't agree with. And because I don't demonize people, I don't really see such an issue. I'm just saying that he's free to do what he want to do, and I'm free to do what I want to do. And I'm gonna do what I want to do.
I
And I
mean,
think,
but I think that that's just being a buck with yourself and the person
yeah,
that you with. You know what I'm saying? There are some things that I wouldn't engage with necessarily with my fiance. You know what I'm saying? I'm not finna,
that you enjoy.
not even so much that I enjoy. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not finna just I'm not finna every night just pound my girl out, you know what I'm saying? Like she, you know what I'm saying, something that I met at the club, you know what I'm saying? Because
What
one,
if she want it?
uh, you said, what if she wanted?
Yeah, some women
I
like
mean,
real
shit, hey, if that's what she want, then I'm gonna give her what she want. You know what I'm saying? But in most cases, a wife, and I can just assume, you know what I'm saying, unless that's what they're into, you know what I'm saying. Most people, most women that become wives, they don't want to get routed out every single night. Where it's just, you know what I'm saying, like
I, w-
some do.
I'm not gonna speak on nobody's behalf because I know they want to maintain some of that.
Right,
And they
right.
like,
Hey, Mistaken was like,
but
no, Rod
I
me
would
out.
say
Hey,
the
hey,
woman
y'all
who
see that?
want it,
Y'all see
and
that
you'd
over
be
there?
hard
Y'all
pressed
see that
to
over there?
say I'm
You
not
see
gonna do
how
this with
she
my.
disappeared
Look,
from the screen?
I think men, we had that Madonna complex too much, that virgin Madonna complex, where we don't realize that women are sexual beings, and that 9 times out of 10, if she like you and she messing with you, she's probably freakier than you.
But
You just
Marcus, you
have to
know that
unlock
you
that
said
shit.
too that
I
you
agree.
said
I
that a
agree.
lot of men, I forgot the percentage that you said, like
Like probably like
80% of
60,
men,
70%.
60,
Yeah.
70% of men don't really tell their women. I think it's about 95% of women
Won't tell they
don't
man.
really
Yeah.
tell their man
For fear of judgment. Yeah, for
what
fear of judgment.
exactly what their fantasies are or what their kinks would be, because that would be the first thing, like God,
Right.
for some
What
they
am I
the
with?
woman might be freaking in a man, and then
Yeah.
they're gonna be like, well, what the hell. So I think for a lot of women, we're conditioned as a society to live up to that Madonna complex that you're talking about. Like we're conditioned to put your needs before ours when it comes to sex. So you have a lot of women who are having sex and it's not enjoyable sex, because we're not taught necessarily that it's supposed to be pleasurable for us as well.
Mm.
Right.
We're just the conditioning around sex in general with the messaging that women get is totally different than the messaging that you guys get. And
Right.
so I would say it's about 95% for women.
So
And
now, my bad, real quick. In responding to Mrs. Locks, um, now, and not to go too deep into my own personal relationship, uh, I
it's not
know
your
what
girl, is it?
you said. What?
This not your girl, is it?
No, no, I don't think
Okay.
so. No, I hope not. Shit, I don't know. But but so I know what she's into. You know what I'm saying? And uh,
No.
she's told me, she's vocalized, you know what I'm saying, what it is that she, you know what I'm saying, what she's into. And I can pay, I'm paying attention to her body when I'm doing it. You know what I'm saying? So there's a time and a place as to where, yeah, I'm gonna ride you out, but shit, some nights I'm gonna make love to you, you know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna ride you out type shit. So it's just understanding the difference of it. Now, would she be into me spitting in her mouth or some shit like that? Then you know what I'm saying? Hey, some women are into that shit and some not, you know what I'm saying? So uh would I be able to slide that in if that was something that I'm into and she know it? Then hey, maybe, you know what I'm saying? On a good night, hell yeah. On the night she not into it, then maybe not. You know what I'm saying? But I think that is just, I think it just varies on the woman. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, their past of their past experiences and what they're actually into. You know.
I
Y'all
think
think
one of the
spitters are
I
quitters?
wouldn't say necessarily past experience. It goes along with what kind of like what Marcus was saying. It all depends on the guy. Because if she's into you, whatever her past experiences are or whatever, if she's into you, she's going to at least be willing to try the things that you want.
For sure.
Whether she, knows she like it or not like it or whatever, if she's that into you, she's at least open to trying.
For sure.
Do you think spitters are quitters?
You said spitters
You
are
asking
quitters?
me?
No, I'm just saying in general. Do you think spitters are quitters?
What you
That's
mean?
such a basic. I like. It's so many different things. Yeah, like go ahead and drink it. What's the problem?
I'm just saying that some people say spitters are quitters. Do you think that spitters are quitters?
Depend on where she spit it. Maybe she might suck it back up. That's what I'm saying. It's some basic. Like,
Hey,
why your face like that? See, that's what I'm saying. A maturity, brother. This like
hey,
people.
but that might be too much for you know what I'm saying, for a certain type of woman though. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying.
I
Like
know. I'm just saying, just the
it
overall
all
thought
varies
of do you
on that
think,
woman.
I'm just saying, but do you think spitters are quitters? Because, like, let's say, for instance, something that's not sexual, right? If a person isn't willing to put in the work to make the jump shot, right? Like they don't go into the gym, they don't practice, they're just lazy, right? Some people will say, "Oh, this person's a quitter because he don't really do what is necessary for you to be able to, make the shot," right? So same way some people think about, certain sexual things. Like some brothers be like, or some girls be like, if this ain't being done, oh, he's this, da da da. And I really want to go back to what Miss Taken said. Miss Taken said something that I thought was pretty legit. That our ability to compartmentalize sometimes does cause us to disassociate you in a certain type of way. But in the brother's defense, it's kind of the same way that women kind of see guys. Majority of the guys don't get on your radar. Like there's something about this brother that piques your interest. Same thing for brothers. If the baseline for all women is the same, what separates you from all the other women? So he had sex with that one, sex with that one, sex with that one, sex with that one. Some people be like, well, if you're just having sex with them and you're not getting to your desired result, then you'd be like, why you keep having sex with them? But the
That's
thing
the
is,
desired
if
result.
you met a certain type of woman or a certain type of guy, and this person seen more than what he saw in the other people, listen, you just don't know until you get into it. Like even my dad's been married to my mom since forever. And the only reason why he married her is because somebody was trying to talk down to him when he was at work, and he said, watch what I do." And he literally married my mom on his lunch break. He was just like, "Oh, you think it's a game? Watch what I do." Married her on his lunch break, and they've been married since. That's not to say they got the greatest marriage or they always had the greatest marriage or nothing, but the reality is they still working it out, right? But I think that there is some validity to what you're saying, mistaken. I do agree that disdain might have not been the correct word because most brothers would love women. They like women. It's just that how we deal with women, like you only become a quote unquote bust down if we deem you that. Because there's many dudes that marry hoes, or because everybody else didn't see that she was a hoe, he kept going, right?
Mhm.
But it's just like there's so many factors to this. This is getting quite fascinating when you trying to like break down some of these things. I like this.
Would you use the word disdain for the men who complain about women online?
Originally, I would say no, but I think the more you keep talking about it and your frustrations start to build, you start turning to disdain because you're only focused on your frustrations. And once you continue to just focus on that, then I can see how there's some level of disdain. But overall, I think it's more so frustration, more so than anything, because it's like men are accustomed to understanding that nobody doesn't care about them the same way that they care about women. And that the things that we respect women for, we don't respect men for. So that's why it's kind of hard sometimes when we have these sexual conversations, is because how a woman respects you versus how you respect a woman, we got different metrics for that. And that's why the brothers don't want to do certain things with you sexually, because he won't respect you the way that he respect the other woman. But I also agree with Marcus on the fact of the bed is on the file, the marriage bed is on the file, right? So you should be able to explore, but there is like there's a journey of sexual exploration in a relationship. And if she ain't feeling you like that, the journey ain't gonna be so long, you know.
Nice. Nice.
Fact.
Yeah, so to the things I'm mistaken was saying about the Madonna whore complex and men sometimes straying outside of their marriage in order to fulfill their needs. Women do that too, because women have, like you said, have internalized a lot of this ideology. So in order to preserve, like HD was saying, that respect level in the marriage, they won't vocalize, right? It's a safety thing for women. You don't feel safe vocalizing those things. But from the self-reported numbers, women are cheating at the same rate as men. So they're getting that itch scratched outside of the marriage too, a lot of the times, right? So if we're promoting healthy, happy, lasting marriages, then how do we get to that place of like having conversations and moving past seeing your spouse as an obstacle to sex?
Maybe we
Yeah,
just need to have more sex.
no, I think we need to have freer ideology surrounding sex, like because it's so many things that go in and surround what people are enjoy, right? And I think a lot of them are from deep crevices that people don't want to speak about. I'll give you an example of something that it's not my thing, but I watched the video. I watched the video on it. You heard this thing called You. It's not a porn. The show on Netflix called You
Right.
with the serial killer. You seen that before? Any of y'all?
Yeah.
Where the really rich dude was hiring people that were like the barbacks or whatever, that were the lowest menial people within the life, and he would pay to have them pee on him with a mask on while he masturbated. Like, some people like some things that you would never expect, but I think to have a healthy relationship, you got to be willing to be able to explore those things. Because back to the part about don't give somebody the don't cheat somebody out of the chance to see who you are and actually like that person. I think a lot of relationships fall into that, and they ultimately doom because you won't show who you actually are. So you hiding the thing that they might have had the same kink, or they might grow to love the kink, or whatever. But because you're ashamed of it, you won't bring it up. So it's a large amount of self-reflection slash um I don't want to say confidence, but there's a word for it when you're confident enough in who you are to actually express that and live within that truth. Like when people say, "Oh, I'm living in my truth," I think that's what they mean when they saying that. Like, I like to get XYZ, and I need to find somebody that's okay with that. And there are people who are okay with that. I seen a Law and Order. There was a lady who liked getting her limbs cut off. Like, that was her erotic fixation. She just wants parts of her body chopped off, and she found a doctor who was into that. Like, you never know if your thing is you know what I'm saying, something that can coincide with somebody else, but you got to be honest with yourself in order to get it, versus hiding who you are and then letting that part of you fester and die, and you end up cheating or getting caught in one of these situations because you wouldn't keep it real with who you were within that relationship. Like
Oh, so it sounds like we give the. I mean, sex is important, but it sounds like we get a lot of it weighs a lot in a relationship, right? I think that a woman being honest to that level can be a little risque, you know. Maybe if she's with you and she's honest, that's a little less risky. But I also think that okay, so go ahead. Somebody else was going to talk. I just lost my train of thought.
Well,
I'm sorry. I was just saying
think
that that's not. I'm not cutting nobody's limbs off or peeing on nobody. I was just saying that there are people who enjoy that, and
right.
find somebody who enjoy that. Come on, bro.
I think that with sex in a serious relationship, that's it's a constant level of exploring, right? to keep the sex spicy from day one to, you know what I'm saying, to the last day, it all is always a progression, right? If y'all doing the same thing over and over, that shit is gonna get boring. So I think that that progression of exploring the sexuality between each other is you know what I'm saying, is what's really the most powerful part. And of course being two adults and expressing what it is that we're both into, you know what I'm saying, whatever kinks there is that each other would be into, you know what I'm saying. uh so I'm not opposed to exploring that and giving her what it is that she wants, but I also want to make sure that is within the boundaries of what I'm into, and also, you know what I'm saying, what she's into as well.
That was my whole point about being
Okay,
honest.
so
You
we're
won't
not
be
Yeah,
able
gonna
to find it
move on.
out. You know?
So
yeah,
let's.
I'm with you though. I'm with
I
you
don't
though.
want it to be an hour on sex.
Right.
That what you said? That's what she said.
Oh,
That's
you
what you
want a
say.
quickie?
If it take an hour, it just ain't working. It's not working. Try
Hey,
again
You
tomorrow.
the clock
shout out
out.
to the accountability partner. He said he ain't fucking with me.
No, he's saying it because he used to be on our panel. He just doesn't know you. He didn't mean it in a bad way, I'm sure.
Nah,
It's all
you want to
love.
read the super
Kind
chat?
of took his spot. That's what he's saying. He literally just got off last week. And
It's
so he's
all
like,
love.
y'all are gonna replace me already. So so back to the original question. Women are no longer raised to be wives. It's mighty funny that we say that women are no longer raised to be wives, but people seem to be more active as it relates to sex. People seem to try to have this sex thing down pat, but the home life be kind of lacking,
Right,
right?
right.
It's because sex
So
be fun. You ever had sex before?
no. So yeah, I mean it sure. So what I'm saying to you is we focus so much on sex, getting the sex part right. Right. Like nobody taught you how to do sex. Your mama didn't say, oh, go get a banana. Let me show you how to suck a penis. That didn't happen. I'm sorry.
On TikTok, that does happen. I
I
think.
almost clutched my pearls. I shouldn't have said that. But so that wasn't said. Nobody taught you how to do, but you learned those skills on your own, right? So when it comes to wifely duties, our husband duties, just like you learned those skills on your own, why do you think that we not do the same thing as it relates to, and some people do, some people learn how to cook, some people, you know, on their own, but why do you think we don't give that same energy to other areas? We just give it to that area.
You mean like emotional connection or intimacy or secure, like put that much focus into figuring out ways to achieve security and all that stuff?
Figure out ways to be a wife. Say, so people say they're like,
Oh,
you're
wife.
like
Sorry.
wife. People aren't raised to be wives. People aren't raised to be sex kittens either, but
I
they
think they
figure
are in
that
this
out.
No,
moment.
they definitely are right
I think
now.
they definitely are.
They absolutely are right now.
I don't
What a
believe the
nigga is.
great
I'm looking
majority
for
of
the.
people
I
are
would
being
say
raised.
in this era
They
in this
absolutely are
generation,
right now.
yes.
Quit
And I
playing.
would
Yeah,
say
go
in
suck
the
a
previous
tone.
era, I also think women were conditioned to be wives too, because when you compare social, well, I guess then it wouldn't be considered social media, but the different types of media back in the day, like in the 50s or whatever, you would see things. The magazines for women would be about how to, cater to your husband when he comes home. Or, it would be commercials about, what to do, keep your house clean,
Mm-hmm.
all of those things that would be associated with being a good wife. You
Mm-hmm.
had media that that environment created that. That's what you saw.
It literally promoted women
It's
to be
promoting that.
housewives.
Right.
Yeah,
Where
but we
in
get,
this
but that
generation,
wasn't.
hold on. But what I'm saying is that now in this generation, we're not necessarily the media is not reflecting the same values as what we're talking about a marriage or a wife should be.
Hmm.
So what we're seeing in the magazines, what we're seeing on the, social media and on TV is nothing close to what wife material is supposed to be or what husband material is supposed to be. So I think that also influences music. All of those things have influence on behavior.
For sure.
So this is this. So I agree with you, and maybe it's because women probably do more of that, like listen to media and stuff. Because I do remember, I agree and I disagree. So I remember us growing up, we saw like the Hillary Banks who was married to Phil. So you saw a woman who had her stuff together. She was married to a man who had his stuff together. Same thing with Claire Huxtable and Bill Cosby, right? So why didn't that trickle down to most? Because now we're like, oh, nobody wants the independent woman, right? Or maybe the man is not as successful as the woman, but in those shows, the man was more even though she was successful, he was successful.
I mean, but
Okay.
that's what women want, though, right?
But what I'm saying is, why why did it only work for women but not for men?
Wait, why
Well,
didn't it
I would.
work for them in what sense?
Well, I would say this. I say that it's not that it didn't work. The reality is that sometimes people take time to get to the position that you see on TV. Those relationships just didn't happen in a microwave. They baked over time. You got Carl Winslow, you got Bill Cosby, you got all these other fathers, Uncle Phil. What we see them and the time that we see them, we don't see their entire journey. We only see the finished product of what it is that they got going on.
Right. So when we see, so that's the same that this goes true with the hoochie mama era, right? So you're saying if you see it, you imitate it. Okay. So what we saw growing up was married couples who were successful, and you would think that would be imitated, but it seems like we mostly imitate the bad and not necessarily the good. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because the bad is fun.
In large part. Go ahead, Enough.
So I said it last week, and think it applies to this now. I think people resonate with the frequency that they vibrate at, right? So, for example, so many times it's been brought up Cardi B's song "I Don't Cook, I Don't Clean," and yet anybody who's watched her on social media, she has literally made tutorials on how to scrub your toilet, how to scrub your bathtub. Here are the recipes that I cook for my family. People omit the things that are beneficial for them long term because they aren't willing to put in the work, or they don't believe that they'll be able to attain the results that that person has. So what they do is they imitate the things that are easiest for them to imitate. It's easy, like HD was saying, to do the wrong thing. It requires work, it requires confidence, and it requires the capability and skill set to sustain those things, to do the right thing, to do the good thing. I think it's that simple. A lot of people are just lazy in that sense. They could do the right thing, but they don't want to invest that much of themselves into it in the event that they can't do it anymore, or they feel like they can't keep it going for long enough for it to be real.
I agree. It's I think that what happens is that, even when you hear a lot of some of the women today, they're like, I want it to be done and finished before I get into it. Okay. That's what I want. I don't want no more struggle love. I built with a man before. It didn't work. I was doing most of the work, and we ain't on that no more. It need to be the complete package when I get it, and that's all I'm invested in. But not realizing that a lot of the people, that's what I'm saying, a lot of the people that were our role models on TV, they had to work together to get to this point, right? Phil Banks couldn't be a judge unless he went through the process to become a judge so that he can take care of his family and be living up in Bel Air. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that people microwave the images that they saw, and once it didn't work the way that they saw it on TV, they was like, well, shoot, I'd seen this, I done this, and this is a lot easier to attain than the other thing that's going on here.
I think that the difference, I think that the difference is those people work together to get that in a union. Okay. So everything I'm noticing is cause and effect. Okay. So when so women didn't just get to the point where I don't want to build with a man. Women have, I've never seen more women of any other ethnicity that builds with a man than black women. We will stick by you and try to make it work. Right. Um, the problem is what women have learned is that when you do that, there's no happy end. Like I've invested in him, and so often we've seen him leave, and somebody else reaps the benefit of your investment. So the problem with that is, no, it does happen. Kanye wrote a whole song about it. Not only did he sing it, he actually did it. Okay, so the so the problem is this happens a lot. I mean, look at Kevin Hart. I mean, we can go down the line, right? So the problem is so often women have done these things without the formal commitment, and then they find themselves in a situation where he doesn't need you anymore. He used you to get you to where that part is. I'm going to tell you now, most 20-year-olds are not dating 40, 50-year-olds who got it like that. They with somebody who's struggling just like them, right? Who they try to build and and they stick in there for way too long, and it's just not working out. So they're doing their part in trying to help him. I don't know many women who've not had that one boyfriend that they was sitting there pushing him to, and it just did not work out, right?
Well, the
So
problem. Can I say
the problem is there's no union. You're a helpmate to your husband, not to a random dude you just met. Okay, that's really the problem.
Well, no, the problem is that it just didn't work out. There's women that did exactly what you did and it worked out for. There are women that did the wrong thing and it worked out for them. The reality is that, like I said before, you think because you did this, it gives you the outcome. Well, I went to high school, did what I was supposed to do in high school. I went to college, I did everything that was required of me, and then I got this degree. Relationships don't work like that. You can spend 4 years and get everything. You could spend 1 year and get everything. The reality is it just didn't work out for you, and it just was with the wrong person. Now, granted, how long it takes you to figure out that this ain't the right person, I mean, it's variable. You can figure that out instantly. You can figure it out years later, but you can't sit here and say that building with men is the problem when in actuality, it was building with the wrong men that was the problem.
So no, we're agreeing on the same thing. The wrong man is the man that's not your husband. Okay? Because that's the risk. Listen, that's the risk anywhere you go. If he has no, it can go, it's a hit or miss. Okay, it really is at the end of the day. The only thing that is in the Bible is it don't say your boyfriend, it don't say none of that. You are a helpmate to your husband. Period.
Right.
Anything else is just you are blessed. You had a chick in your life who blessed you with her skills free of charge, and you didn't even have to commit to her. You didn't have to provide her any type of security. You were blessed. God gave you that blessing. He did not have to do it. Do you consider so my point in saying this is the difference between the sitcoms and what we saw growing up is the missing piece is these people were they built on something together because they saw they saw each other at the end of the tunnel. You understand what I'm saying? And a lot of people have done that in those relationships, their union was missing.
I agree with what you're saying, but I don't think that it's necessarily just subjected to Black culture, though. If you really look at successful white men, a lot of them motherfuckers have been married 3-4 times. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them. Look up any successful white man.
White and both married.
Warren Buffett
Successful,
had 2
period.
wives. Had 2 wives
Yeah, because I actually researched Black successful men.
at the
So
same
so
time.
so my point is this though. The difference between, let's just say, so I would say Kevin Hart is in their boat because he actually married her, right? The only difference between him marrying it, she gets something out of it. It's going to be something. There was a security that was provided there. When they got a divorce, there was something. If she built with him, there was something she got out of it. If you just his girlfriend, y'all just he go throw up the deuces and it's you're out. You feel me? Go ahead, Enos. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. So I hear what you're saying, and to some degree, I agree. And again, not being Christian, I don't know too much about the Bible, but the one thing I do keep hearing is like when you lay with someone, that becomes your spouse. So theoretically, would that not make them their spouse? And so
No.
she is still. How so? Because you use the words of the Bible specifically. So how specifically in the Bible is it distinguished? If you're having sex with this person and the Bible determines that to be marriage,
I could
then
read it
No,
for
that's
you.
called fornication in the
No,
Bible.
a marriage
So
is a God-ordained covenant relationship between a man
right,
and a
right,
woman. This lifelong, sexually exclusive relationship brings children into the world and sustains stewardship of the earth.
right. Okay,
According to
so
that,
what's fornication? What's fornication?
I think fornication. Let me pull it up.
Fornication is just deemed as sex before marriage outside of the covenant relationship.
Okay, so outside the so I know fornication in the Bible, right? And so what I'm saying to you is,
It is a
if
great.
you said what?
So carnal union between an unmarried man and an unmarried woman. It is gravely contrary to the dignity of persons of human sexuality, which is naturally ordered to the good of spouses and the generation and education of children. Moreover, it is a grave scandal when there is corruption of the young. It kind of sounds like depravity is like there's
It,
no agreement in because the
Well,
definition of marriage
fornication
and
is
it's only
outside
two
of
things is
marriage.
different is God ordained and not ordained, and one is bringing children into the world and the other one is doing stuff that wouldn't be, it's still sexual, but
So
look at
so
both definitions so you can see what I'm
okay,
saying,
so God
So
ordained.
biblically,
because
Go
there's no
ahead.
such thing as like a marriage license via the church
So
in that
there is
time.
obey. So God says to obey the law of the land, right?
That is
So
right,
true.
yes, you obey the law of the land, which means marriage is through a certificate, right? But then
right.
you have to do it before the Lord. Y'all ain't going before the Lord and saying, "Okay, this is my boo." That's not what you're doing. So when you go into the bedroom without doing all of those things, that is called
Mhm.
fornication.
It
Yeah,
definitely doesn't
it
say nothing
is.
about girlfriend and boyfriend in the Bible. I can tell you
For
that.
sure.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
Don't say
sex
that. Those titles ain't in there.
biblically, sex is supposed to be something that's done between man and wife, husband and wife, to go forth and procreate uh, in the land. That was the original um, objective of marriage in the biblical terms.
so you
So
know,
let me just say this real quick. So I
Please
think
post what AP put.
okay, I'll pause in 1 second. So, looking at just these two definitions, right? I think the only like majority thing is that one is God ordained, and it seems like the second one, when it comes to fornication, it seems like it harbors contrary to the dignity of persons of human sexuality, which is now naturally ordered to the good of spouses and generation and education of children. So you know how the Catholics believe like you shouldn't have birth control, and that each sexual act should produce children. So
Hmm.
it seemed like, and we could use a biblical scholar to correct this if I'm wrong, but it kind of seems like um, a commitment is the first one. You have a commitment and you're trying to have children, and any sex that's not committed with you trying to have children is fornication. So any sex in general without a commitment that's recognized by God or that you brought to God, where you not trying to have children is fornication. So pleasurable sex is fornication according to this in a boyfriend
So
girlfriend relationship.
I think that it depends on the interpretation. There was a parable in the or a story rather in the Old Testament, and where I forget who it was exactly, but he laid with someone, and he didn't essentially come in her. He pulled out and shot on the ground or whatever. God killed
Fornication.
him. God killed him for that. You know what I'm saying? Because he was supposed to plant his seed in, you know what I'm saying, in her. In I don't if I remember correctly, they weren't married as well. So I think that depends on the interpretation, because around that time the objective for that was because they were supposed to procreate in the land more. So I think that is subjective.
Yeah.
So according to the new, so when we talk about the New Testament, right? It's in red. It clears out what it is. If you feel like you're gonna be sexually immoral, you need to marry your person, right? To the point where it even spells out what divorce looks like. And if you are married, what adultery looks like. It goes in so many forms to teach you what this is. Okay. And all of it mentions marriage. It doesn't say anything about, oh, we just coming together in a union. I slept with you, you slept with me. That's we married. It don't say that. It literally uses the word marriage. Okay. So y'all can interpret it the way y'all want to do it, but this is in red. That means he said it, and that's the New Testament.
Well, my thing is not even being confused and taking the Bible out of it, because everybody is not of the same religion. Everybody
Right.
doesn't. My thing is, like you said, the law of the land in general is, if you want it recognized legally, there's
By the
legal steps
state.
that you need to take. That's the bottom line. So there is no confusion. Now, if you want to make up your own rules, and you and your partner agrees with whatever y'all decide that y'all are going to do, and for y'all it's legitimate, that's cool, as long as y'all are in agreement. But understand, in terms of society wise and law of the land, it's not going to be
Y'all
recognized.
just
Right.
checking up.
You know what I'm saying? But
It
Y'all
says
just
if you take vows to the person according to this, then that would be considered a marriage.
right, so
So a spiritual marriage
that's
is
what I'm trying to say.
people ain't
Right.
doing vows, Marcus.
Just
They
bringing
not.
the religious
pulling out the
aspect
Bible.
outside, just putting that outside of it, is just look at what your state law says about what they deem and don't deem legal marriages, and then follow that, or not. Just let you and your partner determine what are going to be the parameters for your relationship, if that's the direction you want to go. But I mean, we don't even need to bring religion in it
So
if we're
so so
talking about what the even with common law marriages, they do have that, but
Yeah.
but
there's
even
still
that's
there's
several,
even
it
that
becomes
there's
legal after
still
a
some
certain
stuff,
time.
right? Even that, but even that, you're still not entitled to certain things that you would get as a common law wife that you would if you were a legally married wife. It's
Okay,
different.
so we're not gonna be. See, this is what I have a problem with. This is where men lose me, because I'm gonna be an advocate for both men. I'm gonna be an advocate for both, for women and men, right? Look, you cannot have a whole bunch of something for nothing. Y'all be wanting a lot of something for a lot of nothing, okay? And the girl done sat there and got you off, motivated you and all that, and you can't even put it like, oh, well, she's stuck in there too long. That's her fault. You know what I'm saying? Like, then we can say the same thing. When you spent money on her, she played you. That's your fault. You know what I'm saying? Like
but
what's
it is the same thing.
it is the same thing. What I'm saying, we're taking morals out of it. What's right is right, and what's wrong is wrong, right?
Yeah.
So with that being, you can then you can't fault a chick for not wanting to stand by you. If you so just like we're saying, she's stuck in there and she shouldn't have. You can't get mad if she don't want to be your helpmate if she ain't your wife. You can't be mad at that because she don't have to be. That's not
Why
her.
when why
That's
when y'all emulate men, y'all do that doofy voice? Like every
what.
time women emulate men, they be like, "Ooh,
Here you go, you getting off
I
the
was
subject.
on phone.
Here go you getting
What
off
is
the
that
subject
about?"
at 1 o'clock in the morning. Look, so what I'm saying to you is you cannot be upset if she does not be the helpmate that you want her to be, because she's not the wife that she wants to be. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand,
That's
but that's still wrong.
optional at this point. Y'all asking for optional stuff like it's mandatory when
I mean, but women are doing the same thing though.
Of course, that's what I said. Men
Right.
and women. It will be
Yeah,
both.
yeah.
They have their things that they do, vice versa. We
Yeah,
can't
for
Yeah, but
sure.
expect.
Shan, you can't quantify morals without there's no substantial backing to morals without no religious significance. Same thing with marriage.
Oh, so
Like
you can. So you're right.
Yeah.
So without you're absolutely right because in that case, just go out here and do free nilly, do whatever you want to do.
yeah,
Okay.
they doing it. Like literally, they're doing marriage that way. They're doing relationships that way. This is the reason why we have the lifestyles that we have here in the US is because you have the freedom to choose whatever it is that you want to do. Like what I don't understand is if most people recognize marriage as holy matrimony, why do you want to enter in something when there's already a prerequisite to understanding the holy matrimony? It don't just say marriage, it says holy matrimony. Now, most people might not consider it that, but whether you're Muslim, Buddhist, no matter what it is that you believe, like devoid of religious significance, there isn't much backing for marriage. And to the statement of you got to follow the law of the land to make it recognized by the state, here is the things that you have to do. But the thing is church and state is supposed to be separated. So now I understand why they made the rules that they did because people was getting married to people they weren't supposed to be able to get married to, and it caused all these issues and conflict. And so they created some of these parameters to help track these things. But in reality, is that there is a separation between how God does things and how the state does things. Do you get benefits from marrying the legal way? Yes, but in reality, marriage is a spiritual, religious concept, and it exists outside of the government intervention. We just become accustomed because, in all actuality, even in scripture, the main difference between fornication and
What's this?
marriage, right? I'm just saying the main difference between fornication and the sex that you get to experience in marriage is that there is a responsibility that's given. If you're just having
Can you
sex
show
with
me that Bible verse?
what?
You said in the Bible. Can you show me that verse?
No, I'm saying I'm based upon all the examples of fornication and all the examples of marriage and the conversation that they were having. One of the main things that's consistent is that there is a level of witnesses and responsibility to this person, mainly from the man's point. When you're just doing whatever, you're not showing any responsibility to this woman outside of marriage. Versus when
AKA
you
a
marry
vow.
her, huh?
Also known as a vow.
Yeah, but also they got a decree. So they had witnesses that solidified the marriage, right? But then when you wanted to divorce this woman, you gave her a certificate of divorce so that you can dissolve it. But even in that, right? Scripture clearly is quite clear that God, Jesus
How
never
did we get
designed for
here? How did
divorce to be a real thing.
how did we get here? How did
We
we
got here
get
because of you. That's how we got
so
here.
I'm talking about how did we as a culture get here?
It's
Like
because everybody wants to do what they want. That's why.
like it's just
I
tacky
think
though. It's not working.
It's
It's
not
not
what it's
so.
supposed to
working.
be.
I think
We got so
originally
we got little
there
sexy reds being born. Like, come on, it's not working.
They were born before. It
I,
just,
I
there was a stigma to it.
I think I think that the problem is that there was that division of God and state. In most cultures, religion was the law of the land. You know what I'm saying? In early American times, and throughout the world, whatever the religion of the land was law. That's why the Muslims and
Some countries still do it that way. Go ahead. I'm
it,
sorry.
it can still be it can still be done that way, but we're past that point though now. You know what I'm saying? The lines have been blurred so much to the extent of where people in office can't even tell us what a woman is. You know what I'm saying? Women in office can't even tell us what a woman is. You know what I'm saying? And that, if that's not stepping the furthest away from God, then I don't know what, you know what I'm saying, what could be. And I think that is the problem. You know what I'm saying? Because we've removed God from these things that was ordained by him and upheld, that, you know what I'm saying, is pointless now. It's nothing. There's no value any longer in marriage.
You say there's no value in marriage anymore?
As a whole in society, I don't feel that people value marriage as much as it was in the past. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, for
Okay.
sure.
Is easily false
Oh,
reality of people having options. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm gonna step out because what such and such is saying on the internet. You know what I'm saying? It's and marriage, most people aren't even having God included in it. You know what I'm saying? Through the gate. So I think that's the biggest problem, is that, again, God isn't involved in marriage anymore. But that's what society wanted.
I think God isn't involved in a lot of stuff. And
For,
so it's not even just marriage. It's just
for
how
sure.
money is the new God, basically. People worship money.
Which God? Because y'all saying God in marriage. I'm just saying that because in America we speak from a Christian standpoint, and
Who?
only I said in America.
Right, but
Mhm.
But no,
what God
the reason I'm saying that is because in other religions they do speak differently on what marriage is, right? So
so what I'm saying to you is, but one thing they all have in common is marriage is marriage. They may do it a little different. Maybe they may have
Right.
polygamy, but
Right.
I don't know nobody who has a religion that doesn't believe that there should be some type of covenant or something that goes on where there's a man and a woman or a man and a woman. There's some type of, and no religion I know is like, oh, you just free willy out here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody can
All
get it. Like,
all
no.
all all religion is structure. It's structure, it's moralities, so that we aren't one with the animals. Just as in the John Wick movies, how they always said, with without the laws, we're savages. You know what I'm saying? Just like the animals. And that's essentially what religion is. You know what I'm saying? It's just, this is what is based on, this is the standards. Anything less than that is unacceptable.
Well, right now I see a whole bunch of animals, like rapid animals,
I,
like
I agree. I agree. I agree.
little cats that be running outside, the little dogs, and they just like they had a bath and
I agree.
there be shots.
But as a whole, that's the only way that can happen, is if society wanted that to happen.
Um, Anybody else want to add to that?
Mm-mm.
Nobody.
uh couples like said that we are worse than animals the way we kill each other. You must not watch the Animal Planet.
We have
there's
gotten
huge difference. There's huge
This is
difference.
the thing. It does make sense. I have my I had so y'all want to know, this is gonna be real conspiracy theorist, but theory, and I don't even know if I should say it on here. Let me just say I love me some white people. I love them because they are good to me. I know what happened back in the day, but the ones who are alive today have been extra great to me, right? But I want to say this. I think that what has gone, I think the agenda has has gone a little bit too far. I think that the agenda was to get us this place, but because we're such trendsetters, we've kind of persuaded other people to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that it was ever meant for their people to start acting a fool. But because we are such trendsetters, it trickled a little bit. So that's just my conspiracy, my theory on the whole situation. It wasn't supposed to be like this. It's gotten out of hand. But you know, whenever something goes so far left, it's gonna be brought back. Right.
Right.
It's just gonna be interesting on how that's gonna work out. Like, because they're gonna bring it back. Don't think that it's just gonna get out of control. Oh, it's gonna come back around and it's gonna hit hard, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
Because it can't go on like this. Like it's not producing the product that we needed to produce, basically.
So I think that the only way for that to happen, and what we've seen throughout history, is a moment of cleansing, of where the people that do have that perception and feel that way are essentially going to be wiped out, or the people that don't think and feel that way are going to be wiped out. And that's what we've seen forever throughout, you know what I'm saying, throughout human experience on this planet. If this group is wicked and not doing what it is that they're supposed to be doing, they're going to be wiped off. Or if the other side is more superior and they're able to control it all, they're going to wipe out everybody that, you know what I'm saying, that was on the opposite side of it. So
interesting. We were supposed to talk about interracial relationships tonight, but we'll save that for next week.
cool.
If you don't mind. You about to leave, mistaken? All right, Buddha, thank you for hanging in there. But
good night, everyone.
Going up, thanks.
Good night.
Appreciate you.
I'm gonna get ready to check out too.
We're all about to check out, but before we do, we will be talking about interracial. I know that that's a sore thumb for especially when it's the women dating the men. Y'all don't like that, but let us talk about it the opposite way. I had a guy I was gonna bring on here. They like, you bring him if you want to. You're gonna be canceled. We just gonna hear his side of the it was just they were coming for me. So you see, I didn't do it. I complied.
I think you should.
Ooh, they gonna come for me. There's only one race. Goodbye. It is not only one race.
Nope. It is though. It's the human race.
Well, your human race. Come on.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's a fact though.
That's true.
Yeah, that's a fact.
But we don't all act the same. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
I think that's the that's the beauty of life. I think that we tend to forget that we live in a universe of where we understand everything is of polarity. So the only way that you can have one, you have to have the other. Is just what would happen regardless of however it is that we may feel. And I think that the easiest way to cope with that and to excel is to accept it. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, it's not much that we can do to change that.
To change the human race part? To change what? I'm sorry. What was the change?
Shit, any part of it.
Child, it ain't nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's so beautiful having different types of people.
That's the beauty of life.
I just wish we could all get along.
I mean,
You should
it's
your eyes, no. No, oh, she got because you're just playing with your necklace. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, so we're gonna be talking about that next week. Let me see if any of the chat, some questions in the chat. Nothing. Bring on Whitley. Who is Whitley?
Whitey Chin.
Huh?
Whitey.
Oh,
No.
L in it. Oh, Whitey. You know I can't read because I can't see.
I know you don't have your glasses on, so.
I could make my screen bigger though. But if I make my screen bigger, I can't see my face. Let me see.
You read all the super chats?
I mean, I thought you do that.
I do.
Super chats.
Elam with. We already read this. Hold
said
on.
that, right?
Yeah.
The beginning looks.
We are down at.
Oh, we did this one. Do we do this one?
Yeah, hold on. I got it.
Okay.
AP
You gotta take the
accountability
star off
partner.
of it.
You say what?
When you finish, whenever we do it, you gotta take that star off of it. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. The AP accountability partner with $2. Shout out to AP, the brethren. What's going on, brethren? Mistaken is right on.
Mm-hmm.
The AP accountability partner with the 20. I love y'all. Well, except for the new guy. New guy. The AP accountability partner with the 5. Mistaken on fire tonight. Someone get her a white Under Armour hat. AP accountability partner with the 5 again. New guy. You can agree with anyone but Shan. Even if you agree with her, she disagrees with you. Don't let her beauty mesmerize you. That's good advice. Harrison Davis with the 5. Salute y'all. Had a fantastic night. Good night, HD. We calling it one. Well, I'm calling it one too.
Is that all of them?
That's the last of them. I was reading them throughout the show.
Oh, thank you. So everybody, thank you for the super chat. That was very, very nice. Anything to sum it up, y'all, before we leave? It's been 3 hours. I think we had a good night.
Mm-hmm. This was a different night for me because this is family stuff. But women are no longer raised to be wives.
You said what?
I was reading the title. Women are no longer raised to be wives. It's a different landscape. We could try and instill some of the old things, but you're gonna need also some new things moving forward. Because if they don't find a husband, they're gonna need to be self-sustaining. Ideally, that would be plan A.
Oh my God, Marcus, I forgot about that part. Because if you don't teach women how to be independent, there's just not enough men to go around. Some of them are going to be independent. And
Wait, what'd you say? What'd you say?
Oh Lord. Definitely said that. Okay, so until polygamy is legalized, we're gonna have a shortage of men, right?
I think it is legalized in some states.
What?
Yeah, I think it's legalized under some states.
Oh, you're right. It's what state is legalized? Isn't it the state with the guy who got the wives? Where is it legalized?
Utah.
I think it's legal with under the Mormon religion as well.
Yeah, they working on it's some cases in the legal system right now where they're trying to challenge the ruling because it goes against the religious freedom.
Mr. Poly advocate, the advocate for the committee. Keep us abreast on that. I may have to jump in one of these relationships with.
The main issue is when people do something like, say you have a relationship that's just a regular monogamous couple and something go wrong, people use that messed up relationship to paint a broad stroke over all other relationships. Like, look, this guy deleted his family and the kids, and then they say this is what monogamous relationships are about. It's that the minority misrepresenting the majority of people who may want to practice a lifestyle.
The
Yeah.
problem is gonna be the Christian people, like they're gonna say so it'll work for Muslims, right?
It'll
Because
work for Christians too.
your
Solomon.
religious support.
Mhm.
No, that's so in
Mhm.
Christian belief, we don't follow the Old Testament, we follow the New Testament. Okay.
Can't
And
pick
so
and
the New
choose.
Testament does not support it like the Old Testament supported it. So that's going to be the problem as it comes to Christians. But everybody else, I mean, I guess you guys can do, just go to Utah. But my one of the things that I was trying to say before Polly came back into it is independent woman, because some women are just not going to be married, right? And so we have to teach women to be independent, because those are the women who are going to be on child support. Those are the not child support, but welfare assistance, are the women who can't hold it down on their own. And we also complain about those women, do we not? So it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you want them to be independent or dependent, because dependent looks like this if she doesn't have a man. She's going to be dependent on something, right? So
I mean, if I think that again, if she makes the right decisions, then she would have a man.
not necessarily. They're not enough to go around unless we have the poly, or unless she's just willing to just date outside her race.
One of those is a good solution. All right. Good night.
Well, maybe both are good solutions. We'll talk about that next week. Polly back up, just in case Polly doesn't work out. So thanks you guys for being here with us. Oh, somebody said Polly needs a lot of kids. We know how people feel about them kids. So everybody, good night. Thank you guys for hanging in there. It's gonna be a short night tonight, not like last week. See you later, alligator.
Oh, we
Peace.
missed one.